By a Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at TitanSupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Hot coffee, hotter takes, and the sports stories that matter. Check out Kevin Karius weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440. Be part of the conversation. 833-401-1440. Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Have your sports curiosity cured.
Pivots away from Jones. Just gets dumped. Crosby back to the point. Carlson keeps it in. Here he comes. Down low, Malkin. Score! A moment made for Malkin. 1,400 points. The 23rd player ever.
A veteran of the sports reporting game for over 25 years.
Guerrero launches this one, and the ballpark will not hold it. An absolute rocket deep into the seats for his first home run of the season.
Breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams.
And those little battles, the one that Howden just won, those are the ones Edmonton's been winning for 2 weeks right now. But the Oilers back in it. Evan Bouchard with his 21st to cut it to 3-1.
This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, here we go for Saul. 640 Tuesday, April the 7th. Man, driving in this morning to the Sports 1440 studios with another little skiff of snow coming down and on the ground, on the pavement driving in. I think everyone is just sick of it. Let's get some warmer temperatures and get spring going. Yeah. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. AM radio on your AM radio dial. You can also watch us on YouTube at Sports 1440 AM. Drop us a like, a subscription. We're also on X, Facebook, Instagram, and even Twitch. We're always streaming on all of the many services that are out there on iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, even on sports1440.ca. And if you miss any part of any show, well, you can find us where all the podcasts hang out on Apple, Spotify, Google, even Amazon. Select the auto download. You'll never miss a second of any show. Our text line is 833-401-1440. Send us a text. We'll get it in we'll get it on if you get it in. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, man, last night, just absolute heartbreak for the Edmonton Oil Kings as their season comes to a close. Oil Kings lost 3-2 in overtime to the Saskatoon Blades. Rowan Calvert scored the overtime winner on a power play for Saskatoon. The Oil Kings had a power play earlier in overtime, had some looks, but just couldn't find the back of the net. I think Lucas Sauchin had the best opportunity. He was right in the slot, but a block by Braden Klimke, big defenseman for the Blades, snuffed out that opportunity. But when a team comes into your barn and wins 3 out of 4 games in a best-of-7 series, that's full marks for the Saskatoon Blades. And now they'll go on to take on the Prince Albert Raiders in round number 2 of the Western Hockey League playoffs. The Oil Kings season comes to an end, and it was a season full of promise. And I mean, going into the playoffs, it was a lot of optimism, but it comes to an end last night. And again, many close games. If you look at game number 6, where the Oil Kings needed double overtime to get past Saskatoon to send this and force it to a game 7 last night at Rogers Place. Miro Halinka had 7 goals in the tournament. Phenomenal performance. Wasn't enough. Shout out to David Lewandowski. He's an Edmonton Oilers draft pick. He scored a goal last night. Also had an assist on the power play game-winning goal in overtime. So Lewandowski is an Oilers pick, and maybe he can continue his progression, and who knows, maybe we see him at Rogers Place someday. But for the Oil Kings, immense disappointment because they thought they'd be able to get past Saskatoon in this one and then move on to, the Final Four out east, where, Medicine Hat and Prince Albert, excellent seasons. It wouldn't have been an easy task by any stretch of the imagination, but they don't get the opportunity after losing last night 3-2 in overtime. So the Oilers on the road tonight, taking on Utah. It's the third meeting of the two clubs this season. Oilers have won both. In fact, the Oilers have never lost to Utah since the team moved from Phoenix, Arizona. They won 5 consecutive games. Yesterday Mark Spector was reporting on it, after that early skate before the team flew out to Utah. I think it caused a little concern, raised a few eyebrows about Leon Draisaitl in the sense that he said that Chris Knobloch said, well, obviously he's not coming on this trip. We're not sure if we're going to have him here for the rest of the regular season, and we'll see exactly when he comes back in the first round, which mirrors kind of what Leon said to German reporters, did he not? Hopefully the team, and I'm paraphrasing, hopefully the team can play deep enough into the playoff run where I can get back and contribute. So that has to be a little bit of a cause for concern. Who knows at this time of the year, maybe it's a smokescreen. You would hope that that's what it is coming from Chris Knobloch. But Zach Hyman will return at some point next week. Again, both players won't make the trip on this 3-gamer. Actually, it's just back-to-back and then to L.A. So you got San Jose and Utah on a back-to-back in L.A. On Saturday afternoon. When you think about last night, the LA Kings, hey, put on your surprise face. They go past regulation time again, and they beat the Nashville Predators 3-2 in a shootout. That puts the Kings into wild card 2. And to be honest with you, San Jose, who won last night too, beating Chicago 3-2, San Jose does have an extra game in hand on the LA Kings. But the Kings, for all intents and purposes, sort of control their own fate here with 5 games. Sharks have 6. They're 2 points back. Every team has LA in regulation wins. Regulation wins for the Kings this year, 19. So the Predators get the point last night. They moved below the cut line in the Western Conference standings. San Jose gets the win over Chicago. They're at 81 points. Nashville at 82. The Kings are at 83. The Winnipeg Jets will not go away. They beat the Seattle Kraken by a score of 6-2. And the Jets are at 80. But obviously the Jets would have to win out, and some of these teams are going to have to come back. Also in the NHL last night, Buffalo Sabres beat Tampa Bay 4-2. Some crazy things in that game. We're going to get to them probably a bit later in the show, but there was a couple of wacky things going on in that game for sure. I don't know if some of our listeners watched the Blue Jays. I don't. If you did, not sure how long you could watch the Blue Jays for last night. Maybe one of their worst, and maybe their worst regular season loss. Definitely one of the worst, as they got just absolutely pounded by the LA Dodgers in a rematch of last year's World Series. The Dodgers hit the ball at will. The Jays could not hit anything. They've lost 5 in a row now. The Dodgers pounded out 5 home runs. Dalton Rushing had 2. This guy could start as a starting catcher, I would say, for 3/4 of the teams in Major League Baseball. That's how good he is, but he's behind Will Smith, and he ripped 2 dingers last night. The Jays have scored 10 runs in their last 5 games, all losses. That's, and one of those runs, I guess, would have come off a position pitcher last night as they threw in Rojas at the end. The best pitcher for the Jays last night was Tyler Heineman, actually, who had a clean sheet, I guess, in the 9th inning. Max Scherzer, more concern for the Blue Jays and their injuries. He left after 2 innings with what they're saying, like arm tendonitis or tightness and all that stuff. No stint on the IL, but possibly he's going to miss a start. Who knows the amount of injuries that this team has had? It is unbelievable. Text 833-401-1440. Also, last night in the NCAA March Madness, the final, Michigan beats UConn 69-63. First national championship since 1989. If you watched the game, it was not exactly a Picasso by any stretch of the imagination. It was actually quite boring for the first half, especially because no team was making any shots, and it was hard to watch. It was by far a clean game, and I thought some of the I'm not an expert on officiating, obviously, in NCAA or basketball for that matter, but in the second half, man, there were some calls that weren't called, I thought, that were guys going to the hoop and just getting accosted, but nothing doing there. So, hey, let's welcome in the Duke of Delburne at 7:11 on a Tuesday morning, who Duke correctly predicted he took UConn at 6.5. That's what the line was, Duke?
That was the line, Kev.
Yeah, and kudos, Duke. Did you sprinkle a little last night?
I sprinkled as I was texting with Connor Halley and Declan Kruger at the end of the game, in which Connor said 6.5 points was the line. How do they know? Of course, the final score being 69-63, a 6-point gap. It is perplexing at times just how smart the bookmakers can be.
I was thinking that.
But yeah, I also sprinkled UConn on the money line, much less so than I did them to cover the points. So that was fine and dandy. And I'm right there with you, Kev. It wasn't the most exciting game. I think it did turn up a little bit in the second half. Yeah. I give credit to the Huskies because they just refused to go away. But at the same time, I'm not sure Michigan could have shot worse. Yeah. And they still won the game pretty easily. I understand 6 points isn't the biggest gap, but they led by as many as 11 at different points throughout the second half. It never really felt like UConn was really threatening until maybe the final minute of the game when they got it down to 4 points.
That I want to ask you that, like that 3 ball, I don't know who made it, but it was off the glass, right?
Yeah.
And so everyone
to me, that looked like a bit of a chucker.
Sure it was. We all know it was. But I thought, okay, that go. And then you know what? They all went to the bench and they're gathering around Hurley, and I'm going, you know what?
Oh boy.
Maybe the magic continues, but wasn't.
Yeah. Nobody expected Michigan to shoot as well as they did against Arizona when they essentially run the other best team in the country out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it just is a testament to how good this Michigan team is, that they could shoot as poorly as they did last night and still win the game with relative ease. So all the power to them, credit to them.
Yeah.
Great club. Dusty May, an excellent coach. Going back to his comments from leading into the Final Four, I wonder if an NBA job is maybe on his horizon in the not so distant future. Time will tell there. But UConn, 3 finals in 4 years. These numbers, Kevin, are pretty staggering. In 4 tournaments, they went 19, or maybe it's just the 3 tournaments they went to the final. But they went 19-1 against the spread, and I think it was 22-3 overall. Because obviously they didn't lose in the 2. I think it was all 4 years. But anyway, what Hurley's done there in a pretty short time to reassert the Huskies as a true blue blood program is really astounding. So it was a good game. I watched it in its entirety with some hockey and different things on the side. I too was watching the Blue Jays. I think I made it to the 5th. I think I made it to the 5th, and then it kind of coincided with some other stuff getting going at 7 o'clock. So I flipped.
I saw Caleb Joseph at the end because I was just flicking back and forth again and he brought up that Vladimir Guerrero, that at bat, I don't know, 6th inning maybe, and he had a 3-1 count, and he gets a garbage pitch and he swings at it. And it was just a chopper to second base. I'm not sure if you saw that. You might.
I don't recall.
You probably dusted it off. Anyway, he's so frustrated with himself. Once he gets to first base, and he's thrown out by 30 feet.
Right.
Anyway, he slams his helmet, and he's going bananas or whatever. And Freddie Freeman's walking off, and they get a shot of Freddie Freeman looking at Vladimir Guerrero, and kind of going, "What are you doing, man? Like not about like it's what are you doing swinging at garbage like that?" You're better than that, and like this is too easy is kind of how it was portrayed. And I believe it too, for sure. So anyway, the Jays will try to get back at it tonight in game number 2 of that series. We'll see if they can get off the schneid here and get back in business, because It's been a really rough start, only matched by Boston in the American League East and actually surpassed by Boston. Text 833-401-1440. The Schwackhammer, our airport man, says, morning, guys. Roads just crap into the airport. Delays departing due to de-icing airplanes. And then he says, yeah, these playoffs are going right down to the wire, moves every night. And you're right, Schwackhammer. Up and down, below that cut line. Maybe a team pops into the top 3 in the division. But it is and it's going to come down to the last game of the season, last day, 2 days of the season, before we know who's in what position and where. All right, coming up on the big program, it is, by the way, takeover tour tonight at Rogers Place with Boston and Vancouver PWHL action. So that's where we're going to start things off with Daniela Ponticelli, play-by-play broadcaster for the PWHL. So Daniela has been on the program before, and we'll check in with her. She's in town. She's doing the game tonight. So Daniela will lead things off right after the break. As usual on a Tuesday in the 8 o'clock hour, we got our double barrel shotgun hockey insiders, Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet and Frank Saravalli from Frankly Hockey and Victory Plus TV. Our mindset coach, Lorianne Munzer, Olympic gold medalist from 2004, will join us at 8:40. In the 9 o'clock hour, well, we'll tee up tonight's Oilers and Utah game with Cole Bagley from KSL Sports in Utah, covers the Mammoth. We'll go in or out with the Duke of Delburne. We got Connor Helly bumped up today, bumped up a little bit. Connor will be in at 10 o'clock. We'll have Cam and Eggs with Cam Tate coming up at 10:20. And then in studio, AEW Wrestler, because tomorrow night it is at Rogers Place. Man, Rogers Place is a busy, busy place this week. AEW Dynamite and Collision, it's called. That's what the card is called. And coming in studio, man, are we lucky to have what you call All Elite Wrestling star Speedball Mike Bailey. All Elite Wrestling star Speedball Mike Bailey will join us in studio at around 10:30-ish, somewhere in there. When we come back, Daniela Ponticelli, play-by-play for the PWHL in town to cover tonight's takeover tour between Boston and Vancouver. That's straight ahead on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our #1 selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Kevin Karius Show, breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams, even though his favorite Junior A hockey team is the Yorkton Terriers. Thanks for checking in with Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 721 in Edmonton. So glad you're with us here on a Tuesday morning on the Kevin Karius Show. Time now for the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. And when we say we are on this road together, we really mean it. From tires to wheels to oil changes to vehicle repairs, please visit fountaintire.com to find out more. As we welcome back Daniela Ponticelli, play-by-play from the Professional Women's Hockey League. Good morning, Daniela. You're with Kevin Karius once again. Thanks, as always, for jumping on Sports 1440. Really appreciate it.
Oh, good morning. I'm thrilled to be here.
When did you get into town ahead of tonight's game?
So I was in Calgary last week for the Saddle Dome game, which was fantastic, 16,000 plus in that building, a great game. And I decided to stay the week because why not? Did a little time in Banff and just enjoying the mountains for a bit, and then came down to Edmonton. So nice Alberta week, and it'll be capped off with a great game tonight, I'm sure.
Good for you. Did you or do you ski in Banff?
Oh, no, I did a lot of après ski, I think is the proper terminology. Some good food, some good drink, having just a relaxing weekend.
Oh, good for you. Hey, before we talk about tonight's game and also, the season that is and everything that happened in New York and stuff, I just wanted to get your thoughts because I saw the release from the Ottawa Charge about Carla McLeod going to be stepping away here. And we've all been known Carla for a long time with her time at the national team and everything. And, this has been a battle with cancer that she's been going on for a long time now. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on maybe, talking to Carla, covering Carla, Ottawa and everything, and how much she means to the team, to the city, and to the league and women's hockey for that matter.
Oh, she has absolutely helped change the game in every way, from her playing to now coaching the Ottawa Charge. Their fantastic run last season. It just showed the heart and the skill and her expertise that she brings to this. She has been nothing but positive. Of course, when the news broke in December of her diagnosis, just the outpouring of love. I'm going to get emotional just talking about it. People love her, and it's very deserved. She is just there to help build. She has been that way from her work in Canada, in North America, to what she's doing with the Czech national team and the growth she has brought to this game internationally. As a person, don't know if you can find much better. And of course, I wish her personally all the best in this journey, and that she takes the time she needs, of course, to recover and heal. But it is, that news always hits hard. And even when I heard it yesterday, you just take time to pause. That's it's a real human being there who's going through this, and everyone is behind her. I know the organization has been that way as well in the league too. So she needs this time. Wish her the best, and hopefully, of course, see her soon back behind the bench or just, in and around the league.
Yeah,
when she's ready. Of course, for Haley Irwin too, their friendship as a staff is pretty great. So she's stepping up as well during difficult times, and I just wish that whole organization the best.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Haley Irwin coming in to take over as interim head coach, and again, it's almost like a seamless transition. Would you say that?
Yes, and Irwin, actually, I was reflecting back to it. She's only had to do it once so far this year, and they had thought that there might be more games throughout the season where she might have to, pop in maybe for a game or two. So for this stretch since December, just one game, and I was on the call that game, and I remember everyone with a day and a half notice, the crowd in Ottawa, getting chilled, decked out in pink, like making Charge jerseys in pink and getting together and making signs and just making sure that even though Carla wasn't in the building that day, her presence was absolutely felt and their love for her was shown. So I'm glad that you took a moment to mention that. Of course, hailing from Alberta, born in Edmonton, raised in Calgary. There you go. Lots of connections.
Yeah, for sure. Daniela Ponticelli with us from the PWHL play-by-play on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. So before we get to tonight's game, and as you said, you were in Calgary last week, and you said 16,000 or so for that game. Maybe just touch on that and how, we keep saying it. We got to get some teams out here, and you see the wave of everything and the support, Daniela. So you couldn't have been surprised what you saw last week in Calgary.
Not surprised, but it still is. It just shows people are showing up, right? They want this. They are supporting this league and these players and the growth of the women's game through and through. They're showing up in just tremendous numbers. And you touched on it at the beginning. Obviously, the Madison Square Garden game just adds an extra punch. But you think back to year one and packing Bell Center, which of course is the standing attendance record at 21,000 plus. So Canada's always been there, by the way. I don't think that's surprising, but Canada's always been there when it comes to the attendance or seeing tremendous gains in the U.S., which is fantastic. That's what you want. You want this league to thrive and grow. Very proud of Calgary. I know Edmonton will do the same. This is the third time, right? Third time for Edmonton. I love that. Obviously, it's come back, so it's also bringing it back to this market multiple times. And how special, by the way, that Emmerich Mashmeyer will get to play. She's played in all three. That's pretty exceptional. Nobody else really, there's been homecomings, but no one's, played in that many in their own.
Yeah, the pride of Bruderheim, for sure. The pride of Bruderheim.
Absolutely. So there's just a lot to it. And I could talk forever about, the fans and the community that's being built so organically around this league. But it is wonderful to see, and I will always be proud at what Canada's been doing and how they've shown up.
Daniela Ponticelli with us here on Sports 1440. As you said, this is the third takeover game in Edmonton. The last one was in December, so 2 this year. The Golden Eyes lost to the Frost 2-1 in that game in overtime back just after Christmas. Maybe touch on both of these teams, Daniela, and what's different about them, I guess, now compared to back at the end of December?
Well, Vancouver, of course, a young team, part of the expansion with Seattle last season. So that game in December, they were still finding their way, trying to figure out, and people were still unsure about, okay, is this team going to turn a corner and go on a run? We have not seen that yet, and that's what they will need to do, of course, if they actually do want to find a way into the playoffs. They are still fully in the playoff run, but a 6-5 loss in Minnesota on Saturday certainly hurt that. They needed, because in the PWHL, by the way, a regulation win is worth 3 points. So regulation win is worth 3, overtime worth 2, and overtime loss 1. And of course, if you lose in regulation, nothing. So it certainly keeps things very interesting because you can quickly gain momentum. And so for the Golden Eyes right now, this is a do or die game. It's super crucial to close out the takeover tour. It might be neutralized, but there's not a lot of love on it. They need to get going. For the Boston Fleet, they've locked up a playoff spot. They're now fighting for first, but mostly they're riding this incredible stretch with their goaltender, Aaron Frankel. So we could be in for a goaltender battle. I know it was a 2-1 OT game when they were here the last time. It'll be fascinating to see if it becomes a bit of a shooting match for the Golden Eyes, despite their woes and their struggles in terms of the wins this season. They have the most games with 4+ goals scored. So when they get going, and it's pretty electric. You have the likes of Sarah Nurse, of course, related to Darnell Nurse, and there's just so many great ties in this game, of course, but she's been on a roll. And so it can get really exciting really quickly between these two. But the season series has proven to be a little bit more about who's between the pipes. So Emma and Smashmeyer, I know, will want to lock in and get a first win, hopefully in Alberta for her. Both games that she's played in previously went to overtime and just fell short.
Yeah, the bottom of the standings, it's like kind of, when you look at the standings, and you got Montreal and Boston separated by a point. And then on the bottom side with Vancouver still trying to get, to gain some traction to catch the likes of New York and Ottawa. Can the Golden Knights, do they have enough oomph, as you said, being a younger team and being a new team? Do they have enough to get over that hump here, Daniela?
I mean, listen, I love being proven wrong. So I'm all for the drama of hockey and what the sport brings. I don't know if it's the oomph. I think overall it's the consistency, and we've just never seen it. You'll have these amazing games from the Golden Knights, and then the next they'll fall short. They've been shut out twice by Boston. But I mean, streaks have to come to Erin Frankel, who we're believing will be the starter tonight. She's on a 3-game shutout streak, more than 190 minutes of shutting out her opponents. So it also becomes a thing of mentally, like, just getting one by her, and then that could really open up the floodgates. But then piecing together those wins, because Vancouver has a week off after this. They will be at home for the backstretch, and Pacific Coliseum has been very kind to this team. So looking positively and at the optimism, if they're going to do it, this is the best way that they're going to do it is at home on the West Coast when they can take advantage of it. And if Ottawa and Toronto, by the way, who are sort of straddling that last playoff spot, that's the only one that's still open, they play each other 2 more times. And if they split points and Vancouver, can kind of slide right through, it is incredibly possible. As for Seattle, they're still in playoff contention. They're at the bottom of the standings. It's looking more and more like they'll be the first team eliminated this season. Yeah.
Daniela Ponticelli, PWHL, with us on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. Well, you mentioned Boston and defensively, goaltending. What team's the better team right now overall defensively, Boston or Montreal?
Ooh, that is
that's a tough one.
Better defensively. You know what? So I'll just keep it quick. Montreal is just incredible with their ability to block and do everything they can in front of their goaltender as an entire effective unit and team. But there's no way you can deny Boston has the best defensive duo in Megan Keller, who the Canadians now know is, of course, the gold medal winning OT game scorer. But that's part of her magic, too. She's been leading her team offensively while still being very responsible with the puck, alongside the rookie Haley Wynn, who's truly a phenom, 2nd overall. And the 2 of them together are just outstanding. And they play 27 plus minutes a game. So they're on the ice all the time. And then you have a netminder like Franco. So I say you would have to flip a coin, truly. It's just the style of play. And if the 2 of them meet as they did in the very first season in playoffs, it's likely they would meet in the finals. And I think that's going to get there'll be a lot of bad blood between them for sure.
Daniela Ponticelli with us on Sports 1440. It's the Takeover Tour tonight at Rogers Place between Boston and Vancouver. Last week in the PWHL, would you say, and maybe take away, championship week and things like that, but was this the most successful week in PWHL history?
I would, I'm sure that there's an actual factual answer, but anecdotally it feels that way, right? There's this tipping point that we've well past it, but in some ways it just keeps building. And what we saw in Calgary and what we saw in Madison Square Garden, and it also is so spectacular to see in the 3rd season of this league. It was so super impressive year 1, but even more so now that it just keeps building to this point. And especially for a team like the New York Sirens, who for a while the narrative was no one wants to go to their games. It was they had the lowest attendance in the league, and there were a lot of like, what do we do with this team? And now not only were they the team to sell out MSG, but their overall attendance throughout the season has picked up drastically. And that's exactly what you want. The post-Olympic bump, my goodness, it has been fantastic. You you dream and hope that that's the effect that the February break would have and that the interest in women's hockey would pick up. But you have no idea until it actually happens. And it just feels like ever since then, in particular, it has ramped up tenfold, even though it was already electric in those markets that had teams. So very exciting. This is, by the way, the 16th and final stop of the Takeover Tour this season. And it's all been fantastic. And many markets getting return games and seeing bigger crowds. So it's just the energy building. So yeah, I will join you in that. I'll say most successful, only to be beaten again, I'm sure, in short order.
Yeah. When you think about it, and I watched just a little of the game at MSG, and the atmosphere to me, I thought was amazing. Billie Jean King there, and just everything about the game being inside. I mean, I've done a lot of games at MSG, and I mean, the building is amazing. For one, the atmosphere. So could you just explain what that would have been like, the atmosphere there?
To me, it was very representative of the overall feel and vibe that a PWHL game has. Of course, some very nice bells and whistles and just a great energy, the light show that comes with it. So really effectively using what that venue brings to elevate what is already there. There's just a general energy in a PWHL game that is unlike other leagues. There's this excitement and this slightly different way of engaging the crowd where it does really feel like you're with your friends and your community. And it's just all great vibes. It's this inspiring and wonderful joy of getting to watch hockey all together. And I think that MSG truly captured that. And then it was just, maybe taken up a notch because it was elevated with what they were able to bring. And Billie Jean King has come to so many games. Of course, she's the reason, a big part of why this league is here. But I'll never forget when she dropped the very first puck on that inaugural game. And that was super intimate. It was at the old Maple Leaf Garden. So 2,500 people in the crowd, and that was sellout. And it's, to go from that to MSG to all of the other things. And again, let's not forget Canada just showing up in droves to all of their big venue opportunities too. It's just remarkable to see. And Boston, by the way, will be the final team this season to play at an NHL building in their own city. So they play TD Garden actually this Saturday, and they take on Montreal. So that game, I'm looking forward to watching that game for sure.
Yeah, that one's going to be pretty wild. That's a night game, correct? It's not an afternoon game?
It is. Yeah, Saturday night.
Well, there you go. Hey, Daniela, have a great call tonight. And thanks for coming on. Really appreciate every time you've joined us here on Sports 1440, and continued success with your career and with the league. It's only growing and growing every time you look at it.
Thank you so much for having me on, and thanks so much for talking PWHL.
You betcha.
Hopefully you get a chance to come out to a game or anytime. It'd be great to have you.
Oh, sounds good. Thanks, Daniela. Take care. That's Daniela Ponticelli. PWHL, play-by-play, and the Puck Report brought to you by Fountain Tire. At Fountain Tire, we think about one thing, and it is your vehicle. Book an appointment today at fountaintire.com. When we come back, we'll get to some of your texts, maybe hear from Chris Knobloch or even Connor McDavid. Comments yesterday, Connor was saying things like, don't care where we finish, but as long as we have an X beside our name, I still think they want to win the division. 833-401-1440. It's Kevin Karius Show. Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
At GS Construction, we're multitaskers. We've got lots of projects going on all around Edmonton and area. Different teams across the city working towards the same outcome. Installing today what will serve generations to come. It's a rewarding career, and the work never stops. That's why GS Construction is always on the lookout for great people to join us. Right now, we're looking for experienced topmen, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. So if you want to feel valued, empowered, and engaged in your work, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit TitanSupply.ca.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Today and Wednesday is the Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars. Your chance to support this vital service that delivers life-saving care to Albertans. Listen for stories from Stars VIPs, very important patients, and how Stars has made a difference in their lives. You'll also hear from members of the Stars team. Today and Wednesday, the Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbecker. Please donate and help keep Stars flying and saving lives. Visit criticalcareontheair.ca.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 742 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440. Text 833-401-1440. We were talking about the crappy weather again this morning. Temperatures are going to get better by the end of the week, but then not so great even after that. I don't know. We might be golfing here by the end of the month. King of Fort Nasty takes in. Good morning, KK, Duke, and Finney. Well, looks like the Duke's going to have to fire up his snow golf men's night again. It's like regular golf, just a little more frustrating, especially if you don't have any of those fluorescent pink balls. Cheers, KOF. Is this true, Duke? Do you have the fluorescent pink balls?
Well, I'm a big believer in recycling balls, Kevin. So whether you find some in the woods or even, especially early in the season, you head to a local retailer and buy the box of, or like the little plastic jug of recycled balls. Yeah, there's some pink ones in there. I'm not I'm not saying that they're the first one I grab out of the bag, but they'll those desperate times call for desperate measures at times, especially maybe there's a day you're not, you just know you don't have it and you come up to a hole where there's some substantial water in front of you.
Oh, you're one of those guys. I played with you, Duke, and I know it was windy. You were doing that when it was windy and your little slice going out to Never Land. You were bringing those balls out, weren't you?
Sometimes.
Oh, man.
Kevin, not all of us have the prestige that you do. We have to try and manage our ball supply more effectively. I'm not going out and dropping $100 every couple weeks on a box of Provies That's not my game. My game doesn't reflect that. I'm not Eddie 87 over here.
I did, Duke, have to order. So being the Dupie's fantasy football champion.
Oh, yes.
The winner usually provides a gift to all other members.
Really?
Upon presentation of the championship trophy.
Isn't that like it almost like, thanks for letting me win. Here's something for you, losers.
Kind of, yeah. And I mean, there's been some decent ones, but so I thought I would just, to be honest with you, I got like some golf balls maybe.
Okay.
But I have an insignia, like a logo on it that says something that these guys aren't going to like.
Oh boy.
So,
and is it something that, let's just say, it puts them down or props you up? Both. Or both in the same.
Yeah,
in
both.
The same
So I ordered them from the ranch. You get 3 dozen tailor-made, so they're brand new balls. I'm not going at Duke and getting all your dirty crow fights and taking them and getting them logoed. These are brand new balls.
That golf ball's a golf ball.
Yeah. Hey, on another note, I'm in the ranch Masters pool again. You should be in it this year. I'm going to send you
send me the link.
You got to go. It's $20. Fanny, you should go in.
$20.
It's $20.
What's $20?
I already did one last night. I'm going to do a couple more today.
Okay.
I got Maverick McNeely, Duke.
Yeah, I bet
he's in box 4.
I bet you do.
Look out.
So maybe I'll see what else is available. He might crack my list.
He will. Harry texts in. People, slow down out there. The roads are skating rinks. Slow down. Rainer says doesn't want to hit a perfect shot on a junk ball. That's you, Duke, I guess. 833-401-1440. Ty Guy texts in. Oiler metaphors were on my mind this morning. Unwrapping the gift seems more positive than peeling the onion. Then it hit me. I see what they are. Players prefer the risk-reward play, believing they can bear down when needed. It's exciting when it works. I hope to enjoy the playoffs. Well, they've been switch flickers for a good part of the season. Ty Guy. Matthew says, hey, the Oilers still have McDavid, Nuge, Roslovic, Savoy, Bouchard, Nurse, Murphy, which makes them better than all the teams left to play on their schedule except Colorado. The old cliche of next man up should be front and center. Is winning 4 of the last 5 games unreasonable to expect? I don't think it is, Matthew. 4 to 5 should be the goal. Even you should be trying to win them all. Say you had just didn't work out against Vegas. They had a 5-game run, lose 1, go on another 5er. Husks. How long do you think Alejandro Kirk will be out? Husks is probably going to pick up Brandon Valenzuela or something. Well, you know what they say, Duke? You can't sprain or hurt fat. However, this is a thumb. I don't know. I think a good month. Could be more. I think it could be more, depending on, it's such, like, anytime you get something in your hand and there's so many little bones and stuff, I think he's going to be out a little bit longer than people think. Hope not. Although I do want to see this Valenzuela kid play, and he's going to start tonight. Yesterday, before the Oilers departed for Utah, a couple of members of the team and the head coach addressed the media. One of them was Connor McDavid, and here are the captain's comments after yesterday's skate.
Yeah, big trip. Obviously, 5 games left. Find a way to get a couple wins.
How do you go about, like, you guys your game's been good and you're working to build your playoff game, but you're doing it without 2 major parts, right? Without Leon and Hyman, can the Oilers, can you build the game you want to play in the playoff when you're missing 2 massive people like that?
Obviously, we're missing 2 big pieces of our team. And when that happens, everybody's got to step up. And as I said, we're more focused on this road trip here. As I said, trying to get a couple of wins and kind of go from there.
Like I say, you'd like to get some goals out of your power play starting tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get a great power play going and then those 2 guys come back, you're kind of starting over again.
Well, not starting over, but obviously we're missing them a lot on the power play. Power play hasn't been, nearly as effective. I still think we're getting looks. We're just not putting them in. So power play obviously has to help offensively, has to be a part of it. Obviously, we're working hard at it. It's been a work in progress, but those 2 guys are a big piece of it.
Yeah, last one for me. This team and home ice advantage in the playoffs have never gone together as seamlessly as we would think.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you want to win games and play games and all that stuff. What's the most important thing about these last 5 games? Playing well or finishing first and getting home ice advantage?
The most important thing is just getting the X beside our name. I know, we still don't have an X beside our name, and that's all we're focused on. Seating, positioning, it's not all that important. We feel good no matter where we start. But that being said, obviously we know our building, we know our home, our fans, and how excited they are. It is a difference maker. So starting at home would help.
Utah's another one of those teams that you might play in the first round or whatever, like similar to Vegas. Is there like a feeling out thing or a message sending thing, or just seeing where you're at head to head against these teams?
No, two teams that need a win. It should have a playoff like feeling. I would think two teams that need points, and the variability is so high right now between who we could play. I don't think it. Obviously, it's a possibility we play them. I think it would have a playoff like feel though.
I wouldn't ask who, but do players have a preference of who you'd rather meet in the first round? I know they always say it's about getting our game together, but like, is it individual or team versus team?
I mean, the answer to that question. It's about us. It's about our game. All the cliche stuff. So, no, it's not all that important. No.
You've had Utah's number. What is about them and you guys that make you such a good fit against them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. They're a really, really good team, really strong team. Team that has a ton of skill. Every time we play them, it's an emphasis on playing a simple game and checking them hard and making sure that it's a low event game. They got some high end talent over there that can put the puck in your net, and we want to keep it as low event as possible.
It's Connor McDavid yesterday following the skate, and as the team headed out to Utah ahead of tonight's game against the Mammoth. Utah comes in with actually more wins than the Oilers at 40. The Oilers have 39. These two teams are neck and neck points-wise when it comes to points-wise, but obviously Utah is slugging it out for that wild card too. If the Oilers win tonight in regulation, and again, they have not lost to Utah at all since they moved from Phoenix, and you see the teams that are coming, like Nashville, San Jose, even Winnipeg, the Kings, maybe all of a sudden wild card number one for Utah isn't a guarantee, and it's a good thing that they've won 3 in a row, or else they would be kind of hanging around where the Kings are here. Chris Knobloch addressed the media yesterday too. And again, the main parts of this conversation were what he said about Leon Draisaitl for the most part, and then Zach Hyman. Have a listen.
Just a thought on the 3-game trip. You guys control your own fate here. You're still in first place in the division. How important is that kind of take care of business here and move on, I guess?
Obviously, we would like to win as many games as possible, but I like to know that we're working on our game to get as tight as possible, getting in the playoffs and not having bad habits and playing the way we need to. Obviously, our lineup's going to be a little bit different during these next few games than it is probably heading into the playoffs. We got some guys that are possibly returning, but we just, it'd be great to finish first, and that's the goal. But we'll see what happens.
Do you have any fresh intel on Hyman and Draisaitl? What's the latest on their hopeful return?
Hyman is, I would think that he's going to play 1, if not 2 games before the end of the season. So this week he is out, not playing. Leon is going to be on the ice this week, and I don't anticipate him playing any games in the regular season, and then playoffs sometime in that first round if things go well.
You don't love him for game 1 here, though, you're telling us.
I'm not ruling that out, but I would just anticipate sometime the first. It's obviously been there's a period of time that we anticipated him returning, and we said it was going to be right around the end of regular season, start of playoffs. And, if he gets in that first game, that's great. He has not been on the ice yet. We anticipate he will be on the ice sometime this week. We'll have an indication of how that's going to go, but probably sometime in that first round.
Okay, so you're trying to find your power play, and that's a huge part of this team. Always has been. You're trying to do it without about 90 goals in Hyman and Draisaitl. Take us through the exercise of rebuilding it for the short term, but knowing that when those guys come back, any work you're doing on this current unit is probably not going to be much use.
No, we are, like I said, we're trying to win as many games as possible, and to do that, and special teams are really important. Penalty kill, power play included. I think that power play has been really snake bitten. The chance generation, it's since Leon's been gone, we noticed it would definitely take a drop. You're missing one of the best power play guys, the impact that he has, but it is still near the top of the NHL in chance generation. And unfortunately, this putting the puck in the net, which it's all about, just haven't been able to do that. Whether that's been a little bit of luck. We had a goal post the other night. Goalies have been making some good saves. They're just fighting it a little bit, but I'm confident that it'll start producing.
That's Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch as they get ready for tonight's game in Utah, in San Jose tomorrow. So back-to-back for the Oilers. Expect Tristan Jarry tonight, and then tomorrow back to Connor Ingram. When we come back, Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet, Frank Saravalli, Victory Plus TV, and Lori-Ann Munzer, Olympic gold medalist, all in the 8 o'clock hour every Tuesday's jam-packed. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fusion Promo Marketing. Expand your brand, high-quality promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Hey, get noticed at fusionpromomarketing.ca. That is Fusion with a Z. Here is the Duke.
Sports 1440 update.
Four-game slate across the NHL last night. The Sabres jumped back into first place in the division with a 4-2 win over Tampa Bay. The Jets keep their playoff hopes alive, beating Seattle 6-2. Sharks top the Blackhawks 3-2, and the LA Kings go to extra time again, jumping into the final playoff position in the West with a 3-2 shootout victory over Nashville. Off the ice, New Jersey Devils firing general manager Tom Fitzgerald after being with the team since 2020, taking over for Ray Sherrill at that time. And last night from Rogers Place, Edmonton Oil Kings season coming to a close as they fall to Saskatoon 3-2 in overtime, dropping the best of 7 series. Saskatoon will now move on and take on Prince Albert. National championship in men's college basketball last night from Indianapolis, Michigan, the number 1 seeded team in their bracket, victorious 69-63 over number 2 seeded UConn to take home the national championship. In the association, handful of games there, including the Knicks over the Hawks, 108-105. The Magic topped Detroit, 123-107. Cavaliers over Memphis, 142-126. Nikola Jokic, another triple-double, 35, 14, and 13, his stat line. And the Nuggets, 137-132 OT win over Portland. And the Spurs do the Toronto Raptors a favor with a 115-102 win over Philadelphia. Victor Wembanyama, however, leaving that game due to injury. Rough night for the Toronto Blue Jays as they lose big to the Dodgers, 14-2 in Toronto. And tougher news as well as Alejandro Kirk confirmed yesterday going to be going under surgery to repair an issue with his left thumb. Elsewhere across the majors, Cubbies fall to the Rays 6-4. Red Sox, they lose to Milwaukee 8-6. And the Baltimore Orioles beat the White Sox 2-1. Coming up in hour 2, the Kevin Karius Show will be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector, Frank Saravalli from Victory Plus TV, and Olympic gold medalist Lori-Ann Munzer. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell. And we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Summit Restaurant. Located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common, Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Cheers. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Do you have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 8:01 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on a Tuesday morning. Had some text in already that it's a little slick out there. Slow down. Schwackhammer texted in from the airport saying some flights delayed with de-icing, et cetera, et cetera. So be careful. Man, we're coming up to the middle of April here and no end in sight. Let's get out of this mess already. Time now for On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Spring is coming, apparently. It is coming, apparently. But so are the Corvettes. Come see all the Corvettes inside Northgate's showroom and get 0% financing. See more at northgategm.com as we welcome in Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Good morning, Spec.
What's going on, partner? When does spring get here? Holy man, I'm driving up to Jasper today, do a little skiing.
Are you?
Yeah, I thought it'd be a real nice drive up in the sun, a little bit of spring skiing. It's like snowing and -7. What the hell's going on here?
Well, so are you going to ski for a few days or what's going on?
Yeah, I'm going to ski for a couple of days in Jasper. Well, the Oilers are on the road for sure. Cover the games on TV from up there.
Oh boy, are you going solo? Or are you going with Shelka, or what are you doing?
No, Shelka and Wrigley are coming.
Wow,
nice little cabin up there. A few days.
Look at this, Love Fest 2026.
Right. Romantic. I'll do a little cooking. Wow, maybe Shelka will.
Is this a late? Is this like Valentine's Day all over, or your 60th birthday all over again? What's going on?
I don't know. A last chance to get away before playoffs start is what it really is.
No, you're right.
And the snow's unbelievably great in the mountains, as everybody knows. It's been the best year forever. So a guy better get up and enjoy some of it, Kev.
So how many
of those turns that the Duke is so good at? They say that what was he going to do? Ski us into the ground or something?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Circles around us.
Circles around us. Well, first of all, you don't ski circles, so I know he's full of garbage.
Duke would be lost in the trees. Like he's done. He's in a tree well in about 3 seconds. So you've been texting Brian Road for the last few days then again and lately.
Yeah. They got a little road issue going up to Marmot, but we'll drive around that and get up there anyhow. And he says it's unbelievable. I read where the snowpack is the second largest mountain snowpack in Alberta since they started measuring in the early 80s. So that's probably a good sign.
Well, I don't see us golfing around here, Spec, until
I know it's
Might as
way
well
better.
ski. You might
Yeah,
as
might
well.
as well ski. Might as well enjoy it. If we're gonna have winter, you might as well enjoy it.
And I'm sure that
kind of
when
like
you're
your show. If your show's gonna be on, well, hell, I might as well turn it on and listen to the damn thing.
like I'm sure like when you're just whizzing down those black diamonds, you'll be thinking of the Duke. I'm sure you will.
Oh yeah, I'll have my or what are we? Are we iHeartRadio?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have my iHeartRadio going, listening to you guys talking about sports while I'm in the mountain skiing.
Why not?
Not.
Sure. Why not?
Not.
What was your takeaways yesterday with the Avails? You know, you had Connor and Chris Knobloch, but mostly with Knobloch, you know, I guess the concern level for you, what is it like? I mean, Leon Draisaitl was the most, to me, alarming because I think even in your article, you sort of said about, hey, what Connor said in Germany, or sorry, Leon said in Germany, you know, to the German reporters. It sort of coincides now.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to turn out to be the most accurate assessment when he told the German reporters that he hopes the team can play long enough for him to rejoin them. I mean, listen, we always say it. The better the player, the less amount of truth is emitted from an NHL organization about their injury. And Leon's as good as they come. So, you know, I mean, I don't not believe Chris Knobloch when he's kind of hoping he comes back in the first round. I think that's, I don't know. I would assume that there's truth to that. But when he's throwing out the first game, it doesn't sound like he's very helpful. It didn't sound to me like he was very hopeful about the first game.
Yeah.
Of the playoffs.
Which, what would your concern level be for that?
Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to beat somebody without Leon Draisaitl, I guess. That's my concern level. Like, everybody gets injuries. You know, it's not an excuse to say, well, we lost a guy, so we lost to Utah, or we lost, like, whoever they're playing, I think they're a better team than all these teams they're stacked up against. You know, Utah and Anaheim haven't been in the playoffs each for like 7 years. So I think that your ability to play playoff hockey and your experience should carry you a long ways. And Edmonton's a good team. They can beat either of those clubs. And I think they've beaten, their record without Leon's pretty good. You know, their record without Leon's pretty good right now. So why can't that happen in the playoffs?
It is, you know, he's been out. It's been 1 month exactly. You know, because he was hurt on the 8th, I believe it was. Yeah, the 8th. He was hurt March 8th against Vegas. So today's the 7th. It's a month. So
he was hurt against Nashville. And the first game without him was against San Jose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry, the 15th. I was 1 week ahead. So Nashville, pardon me. So we're looking at 3 weeks plus, right? 3 weeks and a bit. Yeah, my fault. Sorry.
Yeah. So, you know, what can you say? Like, you got to, this is sport. You know, you got to suck it up. You don't get all your best players every night. And it's the Oilers should be a good enough team to win minus one of their best players, whatever that player is.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, I thought that we would see him at the tail end of the regular season, maybe that Vancouver game. And playoffs are going to start probably for the Oilers on what, the 19th?
Well, don't they play Thursday? So they'll probably start Sunday.
Yeah, so that's the 19th. Yeah, so
yeah,
you know,
okay.
Gives it another couple weeks. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I mean, Hyman. At least if you get Hyman back, that's big. Like, these are 2 top 6. You know, top line players you're missing. That's not just nobody. Yeah. So if Hyman can get back and play a game or two for you in the last 2, you know, the 2-game homestand and be ready to start the playoffs, that's huge in my opinion. And then you wait for Leon and you play long enough so the Draisaitl will come back and help you.
So you were asking Coach Knobloch a little bit about the power play yesterday, and even you know, some other guys that you were looking at that angle here, Spec, and we discussed it yesterday. So does it change with personnel, or we've had texts come in this morning. Should they maybe divvy it up a little bit more with the second unit as with the first unit, you know, like a minute a piece or something like that, especially with Hyman out here for 3 more games?
Well, it's a good question. Like, they do need to figure out a way to be more effective. Like, I know that, you know, when Knobloch uses the term chance generation, that's his analytics team telling them that they're right up there with everyone else in chance generation. That's one of those analytic stats that for me, like, power plays aren't about chance generation. did it go in or didn't it?
Mhm.
You know, that's really power plays have to give you some goals among all these generated chances. And you know, I think they have a hard time being direct. This power play has a hard time,
Mhm.
you know, using like there's some power plays that take a lot of shots. You know, the shot selection for this power play is always like pulling teeth, man. They want the perfect shot before they wire one at the net. Uh, I feel like sure when they've got their guys, it's the best power play in the world. Let them do what they do because they've proved over the last 5 years that their method works. Their method scores more goals than anybody else scores goals. So I'm not critiquing the Oilers power play when they got their guys. If they want to pass it 15 times for each shot, I guess that's what they do. But they don't have all their guys now. And the mindset needs to change from what it's like when you have the option of Hyman down low and the option of Draisaitl in his office. It needs to be different when your options are less. And to me, the one option you have that's better than what everybody else has is Bouchard's shot from the point. He's got the hardest shot in the league.
Let her go.
And I would, you know, if I'm coaching that power play, I'm designing a couple more ways to get pucks to him on the one timer from the tops of the circles. That's what I'm doing because him and Connor McDavid are clearly my best weapons. And on the power play, McDavid's more of a distributor. So I don't know. I'm just a sports writer, not a coach.
Do you remember our little conversation, you, myself, and Maddie there with Knobloch last week? Some of the things that he said that were on the record?
Yeah.
So that kind of goes at what we're talking about here, Spec, and how all the stats show if you're not moving the goalie side to side and you're shooting it from within the goal posts or whatever you want to call it directly in front of him, and this is without traffic and things like that, he's making the save all the time. So that goes both ways. I think what he was talking about there.
What do you mean it goes both ways?
Well, defensively, because that's what they're doing defensively now. They are pushing things to the outside, and teams are they're taking that shot. They're giving up. You know what I'm saying?
They're giving you the shot straight on.
So the defensemen are getting out of the way. Remember, because he's saying like they're playing post to post, the defensemen defensively. So that's what I'm talking about now. Okay?
Yeah, no, it's true. So what you're telling me is the analytics tell you that Bouchard shooting from between the circles is a bad shot, right? It's not as good a shot. You want to pass it to the side, get the goalie moving, but you don't have Draisaitl on one side.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's one of the issues I would have with some of the analytics is the percentage. Sure, if you get the goalie moving and pass it to the guy on the right-hand dot and he's shooting a one-timer, the percentage, your scoring percentage goes way up. But in terms of analytics, it's the same percentage for when Podkolzin is shooting it or when Draisaitl is shooting it. And in real life, we know it's not the same, right?
Yeah.
And the shot from the top of the circle right in the middle, it's not the same when, you know, Spencer Stastny's shooting it or when Evan Bouchard is shooting it. And I'm even talking about producing rebounds. Like,
correct, yeah.
You know, get it to Bouchard and send two men to the net. Bouchard's shot produces more rebounds than other people's because it's harder, and goalies have a more difficult time not just stopping it but controlling the rebound. Use that. That's my point. Is throw the analytics in the garbage until you get your guys back, and you know use these. I guess use the eye test. I know for sure that the goalies have a harder time with Bouchard's shot than most guys because it's the hardest shot, and I don't need a spreadsheet to tell me that, right?
Well, and again, he's got the best wrist shot for a defenseman probably in the league.
He's got a wicked wrist shot. He picks corners.
Yeah, it's bar down all the time.
All the time. So the coaches know all this. They don't not looking us for information on that. But if they do know it, I wonder why they choose not to apply that trade. I don't know.
We'll see in the next 3 games here without Zach Hyman because obviously his net front presence is missed too. So and we saw it, you know, in the last game with the personnel. So the personnel is going to change, and maybe they defer to the second unit a little quicker, but leave Connor and Bouchard out. And maybe it's a little, you know what I'm saying, Spec? Leave those guys out, but then maybe bring in Roslovic and bring in whoever else that you think is on that third unit. Maybe it's Wallman on the one side too. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you get spoiled with the power play they have. They have 5 guys that have been together for 5 years, and they play $1.45 every power play, and that's great. It's a proven winner, that theory, Kevin, because if you go on your NHL.com and look at who's got the best power play the last 5 years, it's Edmonton, and a lot of the times in each season it's Edmonton. So it works. The only time it doesn't work is when you start losing guys. Now you gotta figure out, okay, what's plan B? And this team, thankfully, has never had a ton of injuries to those guys, and they don't really have much of a plan B, we're finding out. So
well, they're below 30% now, Spec, too, at 29.7. They were at what, 32 and change. So they've knocked off 3 ticks ballpark since Leon's been hurt.
Yeah, some teams would kill for 30%, but that's not good.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
This team's, and you become dependent. Like, let's face it, you become dependent on those goals and that offense. And it's hard to win now without, basically a goal, every second game.
Yeah.
Or better, almost a goal and a half through 2 games. You become dependent on that. I understand that. So they're searching for other offense, and in the meantime, you better take that off your defensive game. The power play production you're not getting, you might have to keep that out of your own net. That might be the way to make up for it,
right? Hey, Spec, I got a text from iMac here. I think I can read this properly, but I'm not sure. Spent Sunday to Saturday in Jasper, so all of last week. Caught the 55 new last Monday. Skied McCready's even, which was all rock at the end of January. Enjoy, Spec. A lot of hazies on the mountain too, or I don't know, something. A lot of hazies.
Maybe hazies, is that like a hazy IPA?
Yeah, but it's got hazy TSP, so I don't know, whatever.
Got me. Hey, what's going on with the Blue Jays?
Well, I thought you were pitching last night.
Man, they're having a rough start. Like, come on, get me. I always say about the Blue Jays, just get me into July that I can still believe, July and August. The rest of the way, who cares? But
that's why these last 3 series, Spec, were so important. You knew the Dodgers were going to come in here, and they got a hell of a team. They got the best team in baseball.
Yeah,
that's why these. If you can't get swept by the White Sox, you can't lose 2-3 to Colorado. You just can't. So now they're behind the 8 ball here for sure.
They didn't, and losing Kirk's going under the knife now.
Yeah.
So I would suggest he'll be done for.
Wow. Yeah, he's done. Like you said, we were saying between 6 weeks and 2 months, but.
For sure. A catcher with a busted thumb that needs surgery, that's every bit of 2 months, man. Every bit of 2 months. And then, like the catcher, he's catching 100-mile-an-hour balls. Like, that thumb has to be solid. You can't play through the pain on that one, folks.
Wow.
So
I said earlier, you can't sprain fat.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a bad one, because the catcher's position is obviously very important. I also watched the Oil Kings last night.
Yeah. That's a tough one. I mean, they had a chance in overtime. There was a nice block shot by that Blades defenseman.
Oh, open net.
Braden Klimke blocked the shot from Lucas Sauchin, right in the slot. So.
Yeah, I give them credit. They really fought back. They had a couple injuries. They didn't have their full team, and they were on the ropes that whole 7-game series. And they kept coming back. And, they did. It's really reminiscent to me. I was thinking of the Blue Jays last night in that Game 7. The Blue Jays had 5 chances to win that game. They didn't win it.
Yeah.
And finally, the Dodgers got the big hit. But the Oil Kings had numerous chances to end that game. It was there for them. The hockey gods didn't give them. The puck bounced right over a guy's stick in the slot with everybody down and out. So good season. Tough luck. Blades played well. Give him credit.
Okay, Spec, we'll talk to you tomorrow at some chalet.
Yeah. I'll be coming at you from Jasper tomorrow, buddy. Hopefully I don't get eaten by a bear or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. All right. See you tomorrow. Safe travels, big guy. What? What's so funny?
He was out of that room before you were done saying goodbye today.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's got to get rolling.
Classic Spec.
I don't know sometimes because I don't see that. So, Anyways, that was On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet. This truck's for you. When we come back, Frank Saravalli from Victory Plus TV on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
With the lead up to the playoffs underway, players are definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Wilhauk beef jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lottery, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play.
Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at customfloorsinc.ca.
Summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit prosolutionsinc.ca to schedule your service today.
From the Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbecker. Here's Stars pilot Josh Brewster.
Well, it is for the community, and then, by the community is the kind of corny way of putting it, I guess. We can't do the job that we do without the support of all the people we get from BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, ultimately, whether that's, government support directly, county municipal support, large corporations, small companies, small businesses, and right down to, average private donors as well. That plays a huge part in allowing us to do what we do on a day-to-day basis, because that's ultimately what keeps us in the sky. It costs money for people, for equipment.
This Stars moment brought to you by Core Grain. Make your donation by calling the Bungie Lifeline, 1-877-50-STARS.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 8:22 in Edmonton. Time now for the headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing. Getting snakes deep and giving 110% day in and day out for all your plumbing needs. Go to mrrooter.ca as we welcome in Frank Saravalli, Victory Plus TV, by phone today. Good morning, Frank.
How you doing, Kevin?
Good. So this stuff's just breaking out of Toronto right now, just in case some of our listeners haven't heard it. And it's coming from Luke Fox. It was the first to report it, about the Leafs looking at an agency led by Neil Glasberg, to help in the search for a general manager. Now, you just posted out some stuff here, Frank, in the last few minutes about Glasberg, and it's a sports agency. And this has happened before. That he's this agency has tried to find and help teams in their search process. But just looking at stuff here, Frank, it's something stinky already going on.
Oh, it reeks. And the reason it reeks is because the person who the Leafs have engaged with to conduct this search not only represents other management types and executives, but also on the other side of the table represents coaches. How does someone who has any skin in the game conduct a search? It boggles my mind that teams have gone down this path multiple times to conduct or execute a search on their behalf that has clients that they actively represent in that world. It's not just an apparent conflict of interest. It's a bona fide and very clear conflict of interest.
So it's befuddling. And I mean, I can just hear, your tone when your response here, Frank, that it doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't make sense to me. And I mean, this all happened in the last couple of minutes here. And I read your article from a couple of years ago that you had and you reposted. And then I'm just sort of going through some other postings here. As soon as I saw that they were doing this, why does the number, this is the biggest sports franchise and entertainment, MLSE, in Canada. I don't even know what to compare it with overseas or in the States. Why do they need to go down this path? It's making them even.
That's my point.
Yeah, they're looking dumber than they already are.
No one needs to. It's bananas to me that people get bamboozled by someone's supposed expertise in knowing the field when really all it is an opportunity to put someone else's clients ahead of the line and give people looks and play the political game that shouldn't exist in a search. But we all know that sometimes these things happen, and that's it. Just you would think that an organization of MLSE stature, to your point, would be above reproach. Would be, hey, we're the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're gonna sort out who the best candidates are, and we'll go down the interview path with some guidance from the legwork that we're doing from around the league. It doesn't need to be any more or less complicated than that. It's an incredibly shallow pool of people that are truly ultimately qualified to be it the next president of hockey operations or general manager. This is not a rookie job where you're turning over every stone trying to find the next first-time guy. And then you allow that person, once they're hired, to assemble their own staff. There doesn't need to be an outside influence or gravity or pull that sways you in a direction, any direction. I'm not saying one direction or the other. There doesn't need to be an outside influence. And I don't know why they would engage in the services of such.
So, does this come from anyone at Rogers? Does it come from straight from Keith Pelly? And second part to that, Frank, once this gets some legs in Toronto today with the media, what do you think happens in the big smoke here?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to your first question. I don't have a full view of the relationships or understand exactly the connections there. But what should happen, in my view, is abundantly clear. Just the same thing that occurred when the Nashville Predators stepped in it and engaged the services of CAA Sports to conduct their search, because that's the agency that represents new minority owner Nick Saban. The NHLPA stepped in and said, look, they made it very clear to the Predators and CAA in no uncertain terms that this was not to continue. If CAA wants to represent the Nashville Predators and execute this search, that's fine. But your hockey agency, your division, which is arguably the most powerful in the sport with Pat Brisson and JP Barry and a whole host of agents that represent more than $1 billion in contracts, all of those agents will be decertified if you want to continue going down this route. Why the NHL on the other end of this doesn't step up, or even the NHLPA, and say that this is an unfair business practice, that someone who actively represents executives, coaches, and management should not be involved in a hiring process, I don't know. But that's what should happen, is that this should be quashed.
This is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of, Frank. And with the team that everyone says, it's like the number one franchise in Canada, with everything, blah, 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 blah. Do you know how, so Neil Glasberg's and its PBI, do you know who some of his clients are that, could possibly be on the short list for this job or jobs in Toronto? I don't have his client list, because he also at some point scrubbed it from his website when it became clear that I began reporting on the conflicts of interest that are at play. And it's hysterical because it's hysterical how the news even came out, because he uses two different LLCs and says that they're separate businesses, even though he's the only person running both of them. Yeah. He says, it's not PBI Sports that's executing this search. It's my other company called the Coaches Agency, which made it even funnier, because that's exactly how Luke Fox reported it, and then changed his reporting to clarify and say, no, it's not PBI Sports. This one is the coach. Like, they can't even get the messaging straight. They're tripping all over themselves, and it literally does not end. And then here's the next thing that's going to happen, and I can assure you that this will be the case. Because I'm one of the only people talking about it, if not the only person, because everyone else lives in fear, next thing that they're going to try and do is discredit me. Say that I have an ulterior motive. I don't like Neil Glasberg. I'm disgruntled. I'm this, I'm that. He threatened to expose text messages from me. I just went through them again this morning. The bulk of them are him calling me some Flyers fan, which is hysterical in its own right. Look, I have nothing to hide, nothing to gain. In fact, if anything, all this does is cause me more headaches to report on the truth. It reeks. It stinks. It shouldn't happen. I'm just here to tell, I have, again, no agenda, just here to tell you the truth. As we were just talking, Frank, a thing popped up for me from Chris Johnson saying that Florida Panthers assistant GM Sonny Maeda is one of Neil Glasberg's clients.
Yeah, again, no shock. If you listen very closely to the reporting, it's zero surprise to me the person who is conducting this search based on all the names that have been leaked to this point. You can literally, I'm not even going to accuse the reporter. You can literally go link them all back, most of them back, and figure it out. And then you can retrace through the steps today and understand that all of the speculation has come from literally one source, and it's one person pumping all these names then about to conduct the search.
This is embarrassing for the league. It's embarrassing for what is like one of the, or one or two or three of the flagship franchises in the NHL. That I would expect something like this to happen out of Arizona 2 years ago, with the ownership, like doing something. This is where I would expect it to come from, but not like for Toronto, for this to come out of Toronto, it's embarrassing. I don't want to spend too much more time on it, Frank, but I wanted to get your thoughts on the announcement yesterday in New Jersey with Tom Fitzgerald. And I saw your post too, thinking maybe a Nashville. Then I've got a follow-up with you regarding that situation there.
Yeah, so what I would say is I think this situation kind of came to a head in New Jersey, where I think Tom Fitzgerald could read the tea leaves. I reported last week that David Blitzer, co-owner and leader of Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment, had been doing his due diligence and really investigating top to bottom the hockey operations in New Jersey and for the last few months. And I think they were getting close to making a change. And I also believe that Tom Fitzgerald has watched this as the inaugural Nashville captain, has watched this GM search go on for the last month in Nashville, thinking, well, if I am getting canned here, can I at least have the opportunity for you to do it now so that I can go maybe be a part of the search if they're interested in having me? So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him join that fray if they are interested. And let's see what happens from here. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that this Nashville search has been slow tracked or slow played, because I think they were also thinking that Tom Fitzgerald might become available.
So follow up to that, and I asked you this last week. Bill Scott here in Edmonton, very astute guy, assistant general manager. Is his name gaining traction in a place like Nashville?
Gaining traction, I think it's hard to say. What I can say is I believe he's still very much involved. They advanced to the next round of in-person interviews. I believe Bill Scott had his interview in Nashville in person on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And so whether he's still involved moving forward, whether he'll become a finalist or make it to the next round, I mean, I don't have line of sight on that.
Frank Saravalli with us on Sports 1440. So in Nashville, the names that pop up, Brendan Shanahan immediately has passed there, played there. I saw a friend of the show here, Christy Flannery, mentioned Jamie Langenbrunner, who's in Boston right now with the Bruins. You think there's possibilities with those two individuals, Frank?
I do. I really can't think of a better fit than Brendan Shanahan to come in as president of hockey operations. Two different stops for him on his career at the beginning and at the end. I believe he makes his principal or primary residence in Manhattan, so not far. I think the Devils are a team that have opportunity. Like if you were to look at the three organizations that are available for posting right now, Nashville, Toronto, and New Jersey, I'd have New Jersey at the top of the list in terms of teams that have the ability to take off and be successful in relatively short order.
Yeah.
And I just think the way that ownership runs their operation, having someone like Brendan Shanahan to be the point person to them and liaise and then have a general manager under him, I think it's a really good fit. And I think again, not saying I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen, but it feels like that's an incredible opportunity.
And one last one with you, Frank, regarding the Oilers. They've had to replenish their cupboard with guys overseas, NCAA, et cetera, because they are like a few teams that don't have draft picks. I think you mentioned Viet Oswald in Germany, and maybe the Leon connection here, Szymanski connection here has something to do with it. Would this young forward be a possibility to sign with the Oilers?
I think he's very much a possibility. From the people that I've talked to, they've indicated that the Oilers appear to be in the driver's seat or the betting favorite to add to someone like Oswald to their organization. He's only 21, which I think is the real benefit. He's put up good numbers in the German league. I know that the Oilers have kept really close tabs on him throughout the season, as have a handful of other teams. And Red Bull Munich is playing in the semifinals of the DEL right now. So you're also getting a view of him in playoff hockey. He's got decent size, a nice scoring touch, a high skilled player. Again, you're not always going to hit on these guys. Some work, some don't. But when you're the Oilers and you're in a situation where you don't have very many prospects, certainly not many high-end ones, I think you try and turn over every leaf possible to find whatever you can that doesn't really cost you anything. That's one way to flex the financial muscle that the Oilers have.
Frank, is always good stuff. Really appreciate your insight, especially on all that mess in Toronto. I can't wait for this day to unfold and how people start going bananas on this. It's going to be crazy.
Well, it takes people to care and get it and to be able to actually read between the lines and have a true intellectual, honest conversation. And it feels like a lot of people aren't willing to do that to protect whoever they need to protect.
Yeah, I just think it's an embarrassment for the Leafs in the league. So thanks, Frank. Take care. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
Thanks, Kevin. See you.
Frank Saravalli, Victory Plus TV, and our headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing, the true goat of local plumbing. That's mrreuter.ca. So hopefully we clarified a little bit on that. When you think about it's Toronto. Like, why on earth, with the amount of personnel that they would have and the amount of resources that they would have, like, you're owned by Rogers, 75% of your franchise, like MLSE, 75% owned by Rogers. It's like it's a monster corporation. You have to have someone in that corporation that has a little bit of knowledge on what you're doing here. And then Larry Tannenbaum, I think, still owns the other 25%. So, I mean, this is going to turn into a total you-know-what show today in Toronto, if people want to talk about it in Toronto, if they think it's something to talk about. When we come back, Lorianne Munzer, Olympic gold medalist from 2004, on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, and Instagram.
As we all try to figure out when winter will actually stop and spring will finally be here for the season, GS Construction moves ahead with their plans for the year. From planning and digging to laying out underground infrastructure, construction season is limited, so we make every day count. And that's why GS Construction counts on our team to get the job done right. Crews are getting back in action across the city, and we'd like you to join us. We're looking for experienced top men, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. For more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca. Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers the Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payments. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair. They'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast.
Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Today and Wednesday is the Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for STARS. Your chance to support this vital service that delivers life-saving care to Albertans. Listen for stories from STARS VIPs, very important patients, and how STARS has made a difference in their lives. You'll also hear from members of the STARS team. Today and Wednesday, the Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for STARS, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbecker. Please donate and help keep STARS flying and saving lives. Visit criticalcareontheair.ca.
You're listening to Sports 1440 and watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sports 24/7. We are Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 844 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on all the many services out there, including Twitch. Time to welcome in Lorianne Munzer, Olympic gold medalist from 2004. Good morning, Lorianne. How are you doing this fine Tuesday? Have we got you, Lorianne? Oh, we'll have to try to get Lorianne. She's probably just connecting up. Can you hear us now, Lorianne? Gotcha?
Hey, I'm doing great, especially when I'm off mute. Waxing up the skis and getting ready to go for a ski probably this afternoon.
Where are you going?
Usually I head up to Gold Bar Park. So great trails for skate skiing and cross country. I don't do much cross country, but I love the skate skiing.
Well, like Specs heading out to Jasper like right away. In fact, he was going so fast he left our window.
That's what I heard.
Very
He's got to get on his bus.
I guess. Yeah, the magic bus. Did you ever take that bus out to Jasper and Marmot? Used to be.
I haven't yet, but I know the guy behind the magic bus, and he's quite the character. Yeah, he's awesome. I've only heard great things about the tours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a lot of fun at Marmot. Like back in the day, the media used to get together when there was so much more media. And we used to get together every year, and we're talking 25 years ago plus. And all the media would get together, Lorianne, and meet in a parking lot somewhere, and we'd take buses to Marmot and Jasper. Holy cow. Those were some fun times, but it stopped. Like it ended because management thought that our reporting could be compromised. Thank you, Duke. I was looking for the right word. There could be a conflict of interest, just like the Leaf stuff here. If something were to happen and we wouldn't be able to report on it properly. And we went, you gotta be kidding. Really? So just another stupid management decision.
I think probably the reporting would be much better. And it would be a lot more fun. It would be more insightful. There'd be a lot of different perspectives shared. I think the writing and the reporting would be better.
People thought, again, there would be a conflict of interest. Say there was something bad that happened and we wouldn't report on it the right way. I don't know. To me, it made no sense, but that's how a lot of the big, tall foreheads think. Hey, getting back. So you're the skateboarding. How does it work for you at Gold Bar?
We call it skate skiing. So you kind of have, just picture like a big sidewalk path, right? That's usually groomed. And it's a side-to-side skating motion that you do with the skis. They're similar size, similar length to traditional cross-country skiing. But it's complementary muscles to cycling and speed skating because it's a side-to-side skating motion. The problem comes in when it becomes icy because you have no tracks and you can literally go all over the place. So you really got to make sure your positioning on the little boards, the skinny boards, are really good going down the hills. Going up the hill, we have what we call like a bear walk. And you're literally opposite pole, opposite leg and ski. And they come up and you go in like a V climbing the hill mark and way of getting up. And you get into this rhythm, Kevin. It's really cool. I wouldn't want to climb for too long, but I prefer the uphills versus the downhills because I've got a little bit more control. But you learn when you get into that rhythm, sometimes you're poling, it's called poling left. So it's the left side is dominant with the pole. The right one comes up, then the right one goes in, and you just get into this routine and rhythm. And it's really cool. It's a lot of fun.
I was thinking, like, so when you're going uphill, you can probably feel the legs really burning, just like when you watch at the Olympics and cross country when they're going up those hills.
Yes, absolutely. Like when you see the biathlon at the Olympics, they have the gun, they have the skis, and it's literally that you're carrying the rifle on your back and you're just going for one set lap of, 5K, 7K, whatever that distance is. And then you have to slow down your breathing to make sure that you get the shot, the mark made, because there's points won, there's points lost. And it's really hard because you're putting two systems together. You're putting a relaxed mindset, mindful with shooting, but then you got to go like hell while you're skiing because you have to be in front. So not only is it a timed event, it is also a shooting points event as well. So good combination.
I would imagine, like, I've never shot a gun after, like skiing or something like that, and being where your heart rate is high. It's, you think about all those great shooters that are just lying there and they're just calm forever. But man, I don't know how your hands would be shaking. I mean, I don't know what it would be like.
Well, I think it's a little different because you're not standing. You're actually on the ground, literally, and you don't detach your skis. You still have them attached. So you got to position them in a way that it doesn't interfere with your shooting and with your setup position. You also have to set them up so that you can escape the shooting range really quick to get back on your skis. And the one thing I was really noticing, and this is the cool part about watching the Olympics on TV, is because the cameramen and women, they just zone right into, you see the face and you're focused on the breathing and you can see them inhaling and exhaling. And it's usually on the inhale and the hold for a second. And then they've got their mark and it's a timing thing of the breath and the trigger finger. And it's practice, practice, practice. I mean, I've been down in Canmore at the Nordic Center and you can hear the shots being fired, and it's a special safe area that they've got set up. And you can see the athletes on rollerblades. So they're training on rollerblades in the summertime, no breaks. And then in the wintertime, they're on the skates, but they're coming in, doing a short loop, maybe 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers, great circuit. And then they come in and practice, because if you're not controlling your breath, you're going to miss the shot. You're going to miss the mark.
Yeah. Lorianne Munzer with us here on Sports 1440. So the Oilers play tonight, then they play tomorrow. Got a couple days off. So 3 games in 5 nights, or 1 afternoon, I guess you could say, Saturday afternoon with LA, and then close out the regular season on Monday and next Thursday here at Rogers Place. So the question for you, Lorianne, would be, how does a team sort of try to ramp up what they really want to do? Because it's all about peaking at the right time and going into the playoffs where you want to be at your best. Maybe just touch on the mindset of a team going forward here in the next couple of weeks.
Mindset of a team, Kevin, is imperative. It is the most important thing that everybody has to be working towards. And I think there are 3 things. Number 1 is communication. Number 2 is trust. And the third one is the mindset. The communication really sets up everything, because if they're not talking, if they're not communicating, it's going to make the job harder to do. Trust is, we have to be all on the same page, and you have to trust your teammate. You have to trust your line mate. You have to trust, that shift that's going out is that you are going to deliver. They're going to deliver. So you have to be on that same level. And then the mindset is, that rules everything, because we've got talent, we've got skill, and the mindset puts it all together, because physically we can all be there. They can be there. They can have a really great shift, but to do it repeated is having that communication, is having that trust. And this is where I'm going to say, this is like coming down to the Olympics, where, okay, you're prepping, you're getting ready. These are the trials to get into that playoff spot, that this is what we've been working for all year long, is it's do or die. And how can we bring up the level? Communication, trust, and mindset.
So for the Oilers, it's different this year because technically they have not locked up a playoff spot. The team that would be able to possibly catch them would be a team that's 5 points back of them, or possibly 6 points back of them. There aren't many games left. So how does that change for the Oilers this year compared to, especially last year, Lorianne, when the year prior they went all the way to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final?
Thinking back to last year, the playing was a little different. This year, it is what it is. You can't go back to last year. You can't think forward. You got to think now. And the question becomes now, do or die. And it's, what are we going to do? Who is going to show up? Who's going to lead the way? Who is going to shine? And it's going to be a crapshoot, Kevin, seriously, because if they're playing well, they probably will go forward. If they don't play well, they may not make it. So then the question becomes, what is it that you want to do? Is this what you want?
So the question again, sort of poning on that, Lorianne, like how much do they draw from their experience last year going into the postseason this year? Because for 2 prior seasons, for the bulk of the club, because it's not the same teams. How much do they draw on what they did or did not do in previous years?
I think the one thing looking back when you are doing a back check or a back review is look at what worked. What worked. The teams are going to be different this year, but you have to look at, and can you articulate, can you name what you were doing, what the team was doing, what the players was doing, and then can you bring it forward? Because we all know what to do, but the question becomes, are we actually doing it? If we're not doing it, there's a gap and we have to close the gap. And part of it is it's the mental skill. Physically, they have the mental skill, or they have the physical skill, but it's bringing the mindset skill of, can you translate that and bring that over to your play? Also, the other players' play time on when they're doing their shift. So when you're thinking about it, is you can't rely on what you did before. You can take the experiences and the learnings of what worked, deal with what didn't work, because if you don't deal with that, it's going to still come back. And then take it, and then how can you insert it into the situation where you are? Because here's something else, is that instead of waiting for the perfect play, Mark Spector was talking about this with you just at the top of the hour. He said, instead of waiting for the perfect play, take the opportunity and go, make your move. Is because if you're always waiting for the perfect play, or you're waiting for the other player to come into the spot, you're going to miss it. The opportunities are always there, Kevin. The question is, are you taking the opportunity?
Yeah. Well, Lorianne, have a great ski today. Skate ski.
Thank you.
You're like the opposite of everyone else here. We want to get golfing. We want the snow we want no more snow. We want to have some temperatures like 12s and 13s and 14s. You're on the outside here.
Oh, I thought the 10, 12s, 14s were coming, Kevin, but I'm just going, okay, so what do you do when it becomes white again? You either pull out the fat bike with the studs, or you get the skis out. Spec is he's off to the mountains for a few days, which is perfect. So sometimes you gotta shift on the fly.
Like it could be, it might be raining / snowing all day today, and then next weekend too. Like, oh man, and we might have some temperatures in between, but I think everyone's getting pretty tired of it. I don't know.
I think so, and that's why I think you should play all sports. Have sports equipment. Get the snowshoes, the fat tire with the studs, the skis, the skate skis, and the golf clubs. Just line them up by the door so that whatever Mother Nature brings, you've got her covered.
Lorianne, have a great ski today, and have a great week. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
You bet. Take care.
Lorianne Munzer, Olympic gold medalist from 2004. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll check in with Cole Bagley, tee up tonight's Utah Oilers game. We've got the con man, Connor Halley, coming up, and also all-elite wrestling star, Speedball, Mike Bailey, will be in studio. It's the AEW Dynamite and Collision tomorrow night at Rogers Place. We got the hockey tonight. So, you go from Oil Kings Monday, and a tough one for the Oil Kings last night. Oil Kings on Monday, PWHL on Tuesday, AEW on Wednesday. What's on Thursday, Duke? Nothing. Maybe Duke will be skating there on Thursday, skating circles around Spec. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies in Nisku. Product sales, servicing, calibrating, and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding, awswelding.ca. Here is the Duke.
The Sports 1440 update.
4-game slate in the NHL last night. The Sabres jumping to first place in the Atlantic with a 4-2 win over Tampa Bay. Mark Scheifele records point number 900 as the Jets keep themselves alive in the playoff race with a 6-2 win over Seattle. Blackhawks fall to the Sharks 3-2, and the Kings go to extra time yet again. They're 3-2 winners over Nashville in the shootout. Out in New Jersey, Tom Fitzgerald let go as general manager and president of hockey operations. He's been in the role since July of 2020. Jersey making the playoffs in 2 of 6 seasons with Fitzgerald at the helm. Last night from Rogers Place, tough result for the Edmonton Oil Kings as their season comes to an end. They fall to the Blades 3-2 in overtime to drop the best of 7 series 4 games to 3. Saskatoon will now move on and take on Prince Albert. March Madness coming to a close as well last night as the Michigan Wolverines claim national championship with a 69-63 win over UConn. And in the association, handful of games there, the Knicks top the Hawks 108-105. Magic, 31 points from Paolo Banchero, gets past the Pistons 123-107. Cavaliers over the Grizzlies 142-126. The Spurs do a favor for the Raptors as they beat the Sixers 115-102. Victor Wembanyama, however, leaving that game due to injury. And in the nightcap, Nikola Jokic, another triple-double, 35, 14, and 13. His stat line in the Nuggets, 137-132 win over Portland. And in the majors, tough day for the Blue Jays as they fall to the Dodgers 14-2. Elsewhere, Cubbies, they fall to the Rays 6-4. The Brewers beat the Red Sox 8-6. And Seattle, they lose to Texas 2-1. Coming up in hour 3 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Cole Bagley from KSL Sports covering the Utah Mammoth, and we'll check in with a new edition of In or Out. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey Culligan, I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
Spring into savings at The Brick. Refresh your home with huge discounts. Save up to $1,800 on sofas and sectionals. And buy more, save more, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game and save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your Flexity card. Plus, save 15% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, proudly Canadian since 1971.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
From the Critical Care on the Air Radiothon for Stars, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbacher. Here's Clinical Operations Manager for Stars, Darren Etner.
You never know when you're going to need that service, and then whether it's me or my family or anybody's family, you never know when you're going to be needed. And so it's things like this, like the Radiothon, that allow us to do what we do. It's not just as simple as jumping in an aircraft and running there. Our training and education, and it's not cheap to run a helicopter. And so things like this allow us to continue that vision of providing exceptional critical care for everybody, not just those people that live in communities that are close to the major centers, right? So we can take that aircraft, which is a flying ICU, and put it right exactly where that patient needs. And like I say, transport that patient and get them to where they need to be.
This Stars Moment brought to you by Westridge Construction. Make your donation by calling the Bungie Lifeline, 1-877-50-STARS.
irrelevant Saskatchewan history. Kevin's got it. But first, catch the exclusive interviews and stories nobody else has. The Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 9:05 in Edmonton. So glad you're with us for hour number 3 of the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick here on Sports 1440. We got Cole Bagley from KSL Sports coming up at 9:20. Connor Halley, the con man, at 10 bells. Cam and Eggs at 10:20. And then also Speedball Mike Bailey, AEW wrestler, in studio around, 10:30-ish. Text 833-401-1440. Tim texts in, and this was when we had Frank on, about what's going on in Toronto right now. Why the hell do the Leafs need an agency to find a GM? As a Leafs fan, I want to wear a paper bag on my head this morning. I'm so embarrassed. I want to puke at how abhorrent this is. On your side 100%, and I can't imagine this day what it's going to be like for hockey insiders. And I'll agree with Frank that at least Frank is being forthcoming. He's being out front on this, and he's not reporting it like the guys that will be it's a lot of people are going to have to be careful of how they say, what they say, etc. today. Now, Frank's, as soon as he got off the horn with us, he called an NHL executive, a current NHL executive. And this post this is perfect. It puts it to a T. It's 100% of what we talked about regarding this situation. So this comes from Frank. This is from a current NHL exec. Obviously, he's not saying his name. It has to be that way, or else this exec isn't going to be talking like this about hiring Neil Glasberg to conduct this search. 1, you get paid to run the search. 2, the search hires your client as GM. You get paid again. 3, your client hires another client as head coach. So you get paid again. The only question is if Neil can hit the superfecta, the search, the client is president, and then the client is GM, and the client is head coach. That's the superfecta. If 3 of them come in, that would be the trifecta. This is so comical that it's not even funny. Absolutely hilarious. And how the league would even look at this and say, no problem. But for the Toronto Maple Leafs, the storied Toronto Maple Leafs, for them to be even looking this way with the amount of resources that they have as MLSE, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, being owned by Rogers Communications, and then by also Larry Tannenbaum, still he's got a quarter stake left. I think everyone knows that Bell sold their, what would it be, 37.5% to Rogers. So they're out of the MLSE game per se as ownership. How could there not be, in a multi-billion dollar company, people that would look at this and go, why are we doing this? It makes absolutely no sense. On a more serious note, we've had a few texts, and even the Ant-Man just texted in. Saw 4 accidents going southbound on the Hendy. Stay safe out there. Go slower. Better to arrive 5 minutes late than not at all. There was a few other ones as well that came in that just talking about slowing down. Oh yeah, Northside Lou. Many emergency vehicles attending to a multi-vehicle accident on the highway before the airport heading west. Traffic is backed up. So again, stay safe, slow down. We're going to be out of this crap weather in a few days, hopefully, and that's enough of it. And that's it. Text 833-401-1440. Duke EG is not happy the way I pronounced cupboard.
Cupboard.
I said I had too much accentuation on the P.
Yeah, you were cupboarding instead of
cupboarding.
Cupboard.
So if you say it
phonetic,
fast,
it's
cupboard.
almost like Chuba Hubbard, but just
Hubbard.
shortened to cupboard.
So I apologize to EG if I didn't have that quick, cupboard.
Well, that's what's great about this gig, Kev.
Yeah.
When you make a mistake, you don't have to worry about it because they will let you know. And sometimes it's in good nature, which I think EG's is. He tagged a little LOL on there saying, did I hear that right? Or am I going crazy? And then other times it's a little more harsh saying, you're an idiot. You can't even say X, Y, or Z correctly. So it cuts both ways.
I'd rather someone come at me for
not wearing underwear.
Yeah. Factual information that's incorrect. I don't know why the underwear is such a big thing with you guys.
It's crazy, Kevin. Sorry, it's an insane thing.
What's wrong? I mean, Josh Fenwick, you should be happy about that. I mean,
why would Josh be happy about that?
I'm opening the door for him down the road to experiment with this.
You're opening the door for me to experiment with not wearing underwear.
Yeah.
Kevin's a trailblazer.
I think people were going commando before Kevin Karius.
Yeah,
I don't think that he invented this.
Did you know anyone that did besides Kramer?
Okay. I don't think going commando every day of the week and twice on Sunday is something that you're writing home about or bragging about. But you do. And
I don't brag about it. You guys bring it up.
And then you say, well, yeah, of course. Now he's blazing trails. I don't know, how this opens the door for me. And two, I'm a guy that wears jeans. I'm absolutely 110% not going commando in those.
You get used to it, Josh. And you know what? You're going to go, why didn't I do this before?
No, that's okay. I get some nice underwear and everything just feels right.
Text 833-401-1440. Jay and Victoria, our buddy Jay. Morning, guys. The power play. Said before, the team needs a plan B. Just like always putting Connor and Leon together. Well, the plan B, this Leon injury is starting to be echoing again from last year, he says. He thinks. All that said, I do believe the Oilers are better now than last year's team on paper. Playoffs is where an unknown steps up. Big games on the trip. Go Oilers. And again, I think everyone assumes the Oilers are going to make the playoffs. They're at 87 points. The Kings are at 83 here. I mean, are you assuming that game on Saturday goes to overtime, Duke? I would imagine the Kings.
I think, betting, like I said, there's in the world of sports gambling, whether you're sports select with the tie or otherwise they call it the three-way money line where it's a regulation result. Don't bother. Don't waste your money. Just take if you're firm on the Oilers, just take a regular money line. Don't put the three-way sprinkle in there.
Yeah. Do you know, so how many games have the Kings, how many overtime is it? 19? 19.
They have 19 regulation wins. They have,
19 as well.
Before last night.
They have 19 overtime points, Duke.
Loser points, right? Yeah. You are.
And they have 19 regulation wins as well.
They, over the weekend, set the record for most times going to overtime in a season. And now they're just adding on to it with seemingly every single game that they play. And you kind of almost have to give them a little bit of credit because for a team that was out of the playoff race and now has clawed their way back into it to the point of sitting in a playoff spot. Kevin, I'm counting 4 straight currently. That's just in the month of April, going to extra time. Mm-hmm. 3 of them wins. And now let's just turn the clock back to March. Okay, they had several regulation results before that. Before shootout, overtime, shootout. It's hard to believe.
It is.
I think the number is now at 32 games on the season. That's almost half of their games played have gone to extra time.
You know it's even crazier too, Duke. So the LA Kings in shootouts this year are 5-9.
Not very good.
No, but they are one wild card team. The other wild card team, Utah 0-0.
Well, I don't know if you caught it.
I did. I was listening to you guys when I was driving home.
With the con man.
Driving to hockey.
He had it as his stat of the day on the Gregor show about the Oilers' last number of years being quite bad at the shootout, and then Utah not being in a single one this year. It's
And the other thing he said is that the Oilers are the only other team to not win in a shootout this year.
That's right. Only two teams winless. Oilers 0-3, Utah 0-0. So they also are undefeated in the shootout.
That's right.
If you want to try and put a positive spin on it.
So could you imagine?
Not every team can be the Ducks in the shootout.
Why don't you bet on tonight's game going to a shootout, Duke? Can you do
honestly, I kind of love it. I do. But I have a game prediction in for in or out, and unfortunately, I guess it's in theory it could happen based on my prediction. I haven't put anything in that would eliminate that possibility.
Yeah. Text 833-401-1440. Jason says, as usual, KK, you're hitting the nail on the head. What a joke the Leafs are. Why do they need a firm to hire? They have tons of management people already getting paid big bucks that can't do it. Are they saying their people have no hockey expertise? I'd like to see them not win for another 50 years. It could very well happen. Jason. J.R. Red Deer says, this is how big corporations work in government. No one wants to be responsible, so they bring in consultants, perceived experts to hide behind. It's easy to blame. Fire a consultant. This is written as someone who works in the consulting business. He's talking about Toronto. Well, again, the difference here is that this guy has a conflict of interest. And again, if you look at what that NHL executive said to him, said to Frank Saravalli, JR, I mean, that is absolutely perfect. So you're hiring a guy that his clients as GMs, head coaches, possible president, these are his clients. Why would he? Is he nuts not to recommend them to Rogers, to Keith Pelly? Of course he's going to do that. A perfect superfecta. Hit it. The client is a president, client is a GM, client is a head coach. Plus, you're getting paid to run the search. From Frank Saravalli. Coming up at 9:20, we will talk on ice stuff. On ice stuff with Cole Bagley, KSL Sports in Utah, as we preview tonight's Oilers and Mammoth game. It's a mammoth tilt for both sides. That's coming up on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube Sports, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Rooter says 1 plunge, 2.
What's this? A UFO? An unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow! People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial. If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Today and Wednesday is the Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars. Your chance to support this vital service that delivers life-saving care to Albertans. Listen for stories from Stars VIPs, very important patients, and how Stars has made a difference in their lives. You'll also hear from members of the Stars team. Today and Wednesday, the Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbecker. Please donate and help keep Stars flying and saving lives. Visit criticalcareontheair.ca.
All this month, you can get in the swing of spring
with Pot for Dough at Nisku Ford. Shop amazing deals on their entire in-stock inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs. You're sure to find the perfect ride. And with every vehicle purchase, you'll get your turn to Pot for Dough. Just sink your putt to win fantastic prizes like gas cards, big screen TVs, Blackstone griddles, and more. See dealer for full details. Find your new ride at niskuford.ca. Above expectations.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 9:20 in Edmonton. So glad you're with us here on a Tuesday morning on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick. Time now for the game of the day, which is tonight's Oilers and Mammoth Tilt. The game of the day is brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where the Jeep Gladiator Sport Package is the 2026s. They're here. They're going quick. There's a few colors to pick from still. $49.9 gets you behind the wheel. The Gladiators, below $50K. You can't beat that. Check it out at stalbertdodge.com as we welcome in Cole Bagley from KSL Sports, covers the Utah Mammoth. Morning, Cole. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440. Really appreciate it.
Of course. How we doing, boys?
Doing great up here. Hey, some congrats in order. Did you and your wife just have a baby?
Yes, we did. We completed our first official forward line. We've got 3 boys. So third one's doing well, not on skates yet, but all in good time.
How old are the kids? How old are the boys?
Yeah, I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and then the most recent is about 10 days old.
Wow.
So it's full-on chaos, but we wouldn't have it any other way.
Congrats. So you say a forward line, Cole. I mean, you know what they say, maybe right shot defenseman. You never know. Those are high demand, you know.
That's true.
High demand. You never know. Cole Bagley from KSL Sports. So congrats on the new Bambino, Cole. What do you make of this game tonight? I mean, the Oilers have had Utah's number, if you want to call it that, even since they got in the league. They haven't lost to Utah. But, I mean, the way the standings are and the way things are shaken down, good thing the Utah Mammoth have won 3 in a row here, or else they might have fallen a little bit back to the pack. So just what do you make of this game tonight generally as a whole?
Yeah, it feels like, every game that goes by here down the stretch is, the biggest game of the season for a lot of teams. And, I think that's kind of the mentality that Utah's had on a nightly basis, is looking at every game on a day-by-day type situation and making sure that they take care of business. Now, as you noted, Edmonton has just had Utah's number. They're 0-4-1 against the Oilers in their existence. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they just have not been able to figure out a way to contain Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers offense. The goal differential, I think, is plus 16 in favor of the Oilers. So, for Utah, this is a big one. This is an important one. And I would say even maybe a little bit more so than others. There's some implications. Utah and Edmonton could be facing each other in the first round. And, Utah needs to find a way to build some confidence. You don't want to go into that situation, 0-5-1 winless in your existence against a team in the first round of the playoffs. And, if Utah was to win tonight, it would also potentially help them avoid the Oilers in the first round, which I think would be worst case scenario for Utah, just given the fact that they just don't know how to handle that team.
What do you make of the remaining schedule here, Cole, with 5 out of 6 at home?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. If you look at Utah's records at home and on the road, they've actually won more games away from Delta Center this year, away from Salt Lake City. I think over their last 10 games on the road, they're 8-1-1, whereas they've only won, I think, 3 games at home since the Olympic, coming back from the Olympics. So, I think a lot of teams would relish in that. They look at it and go, hey, we've got 6 games to go. We've got 5 at home. That's a huge positive. not that Utah isn't looking at it that way, but they've got to do some soul searching. They've got to figure out how to win a couple games here in a row at home again. You know, if they're going to go into the playoffs, you know, home ice has got to be a fortress. It's got to be, you know, your own territory. You can't expect to make any noise if you can't defend your own barn.
Cole Bagley with us on Sports 1440. Followed Dylan Gunther, and we've spoken about him. And every reporter / writer, whatever, from Utah that we've talked about this year, we end up talking about Dylan Gunther. And I mean, it'd be crazy. I think he's, without question, he's going to get the 40 goals this year. That would be an amazing accomplishment for a guy, really just in his third full season here.
He's, I'd say that him and Keller are probably the two MVPs for the Mammoth this year. Keller's obviously leading the team in points, but, Gunther, has set a franchise record in goals, which just continues to grow. He's got 38, I think, right now, so he's 2 away from that 40 mark. He's an unbelievable goal scorer. And, I think as we've talked about him before, he came into this season wanting to improve his offensive game. He understood that he had one of the most dangerous shots in the National Hockey League, but he didn't want to just be a one-trick pony. He wanted to be a guy that could score in a plethora of different ways. He wanted to be able to go to the net. He wanted to battle in front of the crease, to go into the dirty areas, to score greasy goals, whatever it took. And he's accomplished that. And that's what that's kind of how we've seen him emerge and take that next step in his career, which is very exciting. I think when it's all said and done, that Dylan Gunther will be the all-time leading goal scorer for the Utah Mammoth, 15, 20 years down the road. I don't know that anybody's going to have an opportunity to touch that. So he's an unbelievable player. He scored some huge goals. I think he had scored some of the most goals in the league since coming back from the Olympic break. And he's got some of the most game winners in the league as well. So just a special talent, and it's hard not to rave about number 11 based on, the fact that he's only 22, going on 23. I mean, he hasn't even scratched the surface yet in terms of how good he can be.
Well, and I mean, you said since the Olympics and how well he's played, he's going to be on Canada's Olympic team for 2030. That's how good he is, and
100%.
How like a lethal goal scorer that he is. How's his defensive game improved, do you think, since he's come to Utah?
Yeah, I think, Bill Armstrong and Andre Tourney, they want complete players. They want complete 200-foot players. Doesn't matter if you are one of the best goal scorers in the league. If you can't defend, then you have no place on this team. And, what he's been able to do, I think, this year has become a little bit more aware. It's become play a little bit more physical. There's been a few times this year. I mean, Gunther's not the biggest guy, but there's been a few times where he's leveled a couple of guys. He's thrown his hip into the boards and then, checked some guys, pretty well. And you kind of take a step back and go, "Oh, that Dylan Gunther that just, laid that hit." So I think he's increased his physicality. I think he's utilized more of an active stick. He's playing really well up top. He contributes, on special teams here and there. And I think, both him and Cooley are just really starting to blossom into really complete 200-foot players who are both very, obviously very talented offensively, but their defensive game has definitely gone to the next level this year as well.
Cole Bagley with us from KSL Sports in Utah. Is there an update, any status regarding Mackenzie Weegar and his possibility even playing tonight in the near future for Utah?
Yeah, so yesterday was a maintenance day for quite a few guys. Gunther, maintenance day for Gunther, John Marino, Mackenzie Weegar. I believe there was one more, and then, of course, Barrett Hayden and Jack McBain, who were both week to week. We were able to ask Tourney yesterday, hey, what's the situation with a lot of these guys? He said that the only significant longer-term injuries are to Hayden and McBain, and that everybody else was either close or will play. So, we'll see what the situation is. Here at morning skate in about an hour. We'll see if he's out there skating on that top pair. I'm not entirely sure if he'll go tonight, but I would assume that he'll be back here within the next game or so.
What else is going on the injury front here, Cole, with guys like Barrett Hayton and Jack McBain?
Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate that we'll see Hayton or McBain probably until the playoffs. They sustained some injuries that have sidelined them for a while and has, forced Utah to call up some guys from their AHL affiliates. We've seen Kevin Rooney come up from the Tucson Roadrunners. We've seen Daniel Boot. We've seen Dmitry Simashev and what have you. So, yeah, with those two, I don't think it's overly serious. Like I would doubt that they're done for the year or anything like that, but I'd be surprised if we see them back before the first round.
Cole Bagley from KSL Sports with us on the Kevin Karius Show here in Sports 1440. On the back end, Mikhail Sergachev gets a lot of the kudos and a lot of the limelight, and for good reason. He's a hell of a defenseman. But what have you made of John Marino this year, and do you think he's one of the more underrated defensemen maybe in the league?
Yeah, I do. I think this has been a career year for John Marino, not just in terms of his defensive game. He and Nate Schmidt have been one of the most consistent, just true defenseman pairings in the National Hockey League. They've had one of the best plus-minus ratings in the entire league for most of the year. They're just reliable. They're just consistent. They don't do anything. They make very few mistakes. They make a lot of veteran-type plays. They're very aware. And I think the thing for Marino that's really surprised me, maybe not surprised is the right word, but just impressed me, I would say, is his offensive game. He moves the puck incredibly well.
Yeah.
He's got a number of assists this year, and it's not just simply feeding the forwards, moving it quickly. It's finding guys on the back door. It's looking for a forward who's kind of streaking on that back door, going to the net hard and finding them, threading a needle. He's done that a bunch of times this year, where he's been able to, send a no-look pass or find a guy going with speed. So I think, Marino definitely is starting to become maybe one of the more underrated defensemen in the league. He's not a guy that a lot of people talk about, but I think if you sit down and you just watch him for a game or two, you become really impressed with his game overall.
Yeah. And, I started that kind of question off with Mikhail Sergachev. He's the face of the back end, you would say that. How valuable has he been to the team this year?
Yeah. It's interesting. He's not producing as much as he did a year ago. And, for a good portion of the season, I would say that a lot of people were kind of, questioning, his impact. There were a lot of games where, if you looked at kind of those report cards and what have you, he was struggling a little bit. But when you take, kind of a broader look at it, when you see the workload that he's taking, he's playing the most minutes on this team. He did that a year ago. He's done it again this year. He's playing on the top line. He's playing power play. He's playing PK. He's contributing all across the ice. Yeah, he's been the anchor, and he's had to change his game a little bit, right? Like in Tampa, he wasn't the guy. He was playing, on different pairings, and the expectations were a lot lower. But he comes to Utah, and suddenly, you're a top defenseman in the National Hockey League. You're expected to take on all these roles. You're expected to flourish. You're expected to carry this team and wear an A on your sweater. And I would say that, he's had to adjust to that. There's definitely been some growing pains, but he's really come around, over the back half of the season, especially after coming back from the Olympic break. And Utah's defense for the most part played really well, especially as of late, where they're outscoring their opponents, I think 19-8 over the last 3 games. So yeah, he means I think a lot to this defensive core, and will continue to do so.
Kyler Yamamoto, Cole. I mean, we obviously know him quite well when he spent his time here and was drafted in the first round by the Oilers. Has he been moving up and down the lineup a fair bit in frequency? And how's he performed, kind of handling that role with Utah?
Yeah, he's kind of been a Swiss Army knife, a much-needed Swiss Army knife for the Utah Mammoth. I think he's played about 55 games this year, so he's been in and out a fair amount, but he's just embraced the role. He's come in and played on, I think, just about every line, over the course of the year. I think he's maybe played a game or two on the top line when, there were some injuries. He's played on the second, he's played on the third, he's played on the fourth, and he's made the most of his minutes. He's kind of a guy that I think you would describe him as, it's not the size of the dog, but the size of the fight in the dog. And, he just, he's everywhere. It doesn't matter how small he is. He's ferocious on the forecheck. He's generating extra chances. He's helping the offense, reload, and continue to sustain ozone possession. And no, he's been fantastic. I was really pleased when I saw that they brought him back for another year. And if you were to ask me, I think he's earned, maybe another extension, maybe another year or two. He's just the guy that, he can fit anywhere. He doesn't complain. He doesn't have an attitude. He'll play wherever they ask him to. And he's usually lifting, whatever group he's playing with, he's making it better.
Cole Bagley from KSL Sports with us on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. Daniil Boot, what kind of player do they have in this young guy who's he is so highly regarded. And, when everyone talks about young prospects, he's at the top of the list for a lot of people. He's down in Tucson, as you know, right now, tearing it up with the Roadrunners. But what kind of future do you see for a guy that is a big body and can score?
Yeah. I've had conversations with Bill Armstrong about a lot of the prospects. And of course, he's going to rave about, the TJ Gimlets and the Caleb Dinwiddie's and the Kobo Delines. But one thing that stood out when we were talking about Daniil Boot not too long ago was he said that, as long as he's overseen this organization, this team has never had a player like Daniil Boot. Yeah. And I'd have to agree with that. I think just based on, his size, his ability to score, he's got a nasty shot too. He's let him rip from distance a few times where you sit back and go, hey, there's somebody here that might be, giving Dylan Gunther a run for his money at some point. And as well, he's able to go to the net. He's able to create chaos. It's funny, through the first few games that he played for this organization this year, he ran into a couple, future Hall of Fame goaltenders, but he just kept going. He was running into Binnington. He was running into Jonathan Quick. And, they were not all too appreciative of that. They gave him some flack for it, but he stood up. He got back up on his feet and he went right back to the net the very next play. So, for him, it's unlocking his potential. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily raw, but, coming over from the KHL, it's just a different game over there. It's different responsibilities, it's different minutes. I think he played like 9 minutes a game for his KHL squad last year before coming over to the United States. You've seen the way that he can dominate in the AHL, and as soon as that clicks in the National Hockey League, as soon as he has the confidence to go to the net with purpose, with the ability to clean up pucks, the ability to tip pucks, and then as well, become a dual threat from a distance. I think the sky's the limit for this guy, and so for Utah, it's just about finding the quickest routes, but the most influential route in terms of helping him feel confident at the highest level.
Any whispers or thoughts, Cole, about bringing him up here, for playoffs?
Yeah, we'll have to see. That's again where things kind of differ for guys like Dmitry Simashev and Daniil Boot compared to some of the other players in their prospect pool, because having come over from the KHL, both those guys both have clauses in their contracts where, after the first 18 months in the United States, if they don't feel comfortable with their role or their development, they can actually return to the KHL to continue developing. And so you've got to keep that in mind. You've got to keep those guys happy. You've got to give them opportunities. Right now they've got Dmitry Simashev up on the blue line. We'll see if he gets any minutes here over the next couple of games. We'll see if he stays here, as long as Uyghur's out. But yeah, I think, given how cheap, their contracts are, and, how obviously things change after the trade deadline in terms of, it's not roster spots necessarily, but it's cap space. Utah definitely could bring him up if they saw it fit. But I think just the way that he's playing right now in Tucson, let him just continue to boost his confidence and, I think go from there.
Hey, Cole, thanks so much for your insight. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the game tonight, the rest of the stretch run, and the playoffs. Hopefully we talk soon.
All right, thanks.
It's Cole Bagley, KSL Sports in Utah. Game of the day brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where the Jeep Gladiator sport packages are here, and you can get behind the wheel for under $50K. Check it out at stalbertdodge.com. When we come back, we're going to go in or out with the Duke of Delburne on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Rooter says 1 plunge, 2.
What's this? A UFO? An
unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow! People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial.
If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy! Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Ever had a problem returning auto parts? At Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock, we do things differently. Hi, it's Lisa, and we're proud to offer one of the best return policies in the business. When you shop with us, you buy with confidence, knowing that if it doesn't fit or if it's not the right part, we'll make it right. For nearly 50 years, Ed's Auto Salvage has helped Alberta drivers save money, stay on the roads, and shop stress-free. Trust the team that stands behind every part we sell. Visit us at edsautosalvage.com.
This year, instead of a short winter getaway from the cold, what if you took a permanent winter getaway from your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, inviting you to come plan your winter transformation. I've helped thousands of Edmonton men and women get their hair and their confidence back. Many of them preferred the winter. Cooler temperatures are great for recovery, and winter hats can keep everything discreet. Trips are nice, but this winter, choose to invest in your vessel. Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
It's midnight sin.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 9:41 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne with you. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're so glad you're with us here on a Tuesday morning. And hopefully the weather can turn around here and we can get some warmer temperatures in the next couple of days. Time now for In or Out, brought to you by Pro Solutions. Hey, if you need fast air conditioning service, Pro Solutions offers expert repairs, tune-ups, and installs with flexible financing. Book your appointment now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions, just action. In or out?
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
All right, Duke, let her buck.
Game day for the Edmonton Oilers. They are down in Utah, taking on the Mammoth for the second time in just a couple weeks. The power play continuing to struggle for the Oilers in Leon Draisaitl's absence. Not likely buoyed now with Zach Hyman, expected to miss more time down the stretch of the season. It seems too simple, Kev. It seems too easy, but I don't think it is an oversimplification to just say that pucks and bodies to the net can remedy this in those players' absence.
Yes, in Duke, in. We've been talking about it for a few days now. And you know what? Throw two guys in front of the net. And if you win the face-off to start things off in the offensive zone, you win the draw, one pass, two passes, blast one, get it on, and start getting, instead of letting the team get set up, get it to the net, put them in a little bit of disarray. So what if the shot is blocked or the goalie makes a save and the team clears? How many times do we see right off the hop in a power play, the Oilers lose a draw, team rims it around the boards, and you've just lost 20 seconds. What's the difference? So hum it on net, get some traffic in there. And again, if Bush is letting some of these rip and they're hitting some forwards up high, all fine with that. But get a couple more guys in front of the net and try to just jam in an ugly one. So,
and if we look back at the recent little stretch and where the power play has been able to cash in, the one that jumps out to me in the midst of what was, I think, a 1-for-17 stretch, they broke that was Matt Savoy, right? And he just kind of from down on the goal line, just walks it to the net. He has a lane there and jams it, and good things tend to happen. When you have Connor McDavid on your power play, the obvious default is to put the puck in his hands, and that's good. But, him having a little bit more of a shot mentality from up there, opening up maybe something for Bouchard to the top of the unit. But more importantly, what you talk about, if you give it up off of, say, not a high grade or high chance shot, right? Yeah. And the team's allowed to clear. You have essentially a free zone entry every single time. And watch other teams around the league with the power play. There are other teams that have guys that are excellent at it too. But the ability to get into the zone essentially freely every single possession is such a benefit to them that I think getting the puck cleared shouldn't be the end all be all, roll the lines over and send it a second unit all of a sudden, right? And we know that's not going to change in terms of how much Bouchard and McDavid are out there for a 2-minute power play. They're still going to be out there the whole time, regardless of what the other three guys are.
For me too, Duke, if the first power play unit isn't doing a whole hell of a lot in opportunities 1 and 2, I'm okay with giving more time to the second power play unit. And
sure,
this is going to be a unit where it's dump it in and bang some bodies, try to retrieve the puck, gain possession. And now you are putting the puck on net with Wallman and Ekholm, but there's way more beef on the second unit than there is on the first. So maybe that works better there.
And sticking with tonight's game, let's just roll out a simple prediction for it. I think the Oilers, they'll continue to feel the absence of Leon and Zach Hyman, and they will lose to Utah for the first time in the franchise's history. But it comes with an under 6.5 game goal total.
I'm out on this one, Duke. I think the Oilers, again, they just have Utah's number. Cole Bagley was talking about that previous segment. So I think they win. But I'll go with you on the under 6.5 game total. I'm looking at a 3-2 Oilers or 4-2, maybe empty netter.
3-2 in a shootout.
Oh yeah, 3. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we should say that 3-2.
We got to get the shootout prediction.
Might as well.
Like I said, I'll mix that in. And the Oilers, they didn't have their best stuff on Saturday, but we talked about this yesterday, Kevin. I didn't think they played particularly bad. It just seemed that a loss was on tap for them in Vegas, a team remotivated now under John Tortorella, I suppose, as they make their own push towards the division title. I just think with the way that, and we almost touch this topic every time that the Oilers play Seattle or Nashville, and Utah falls into this camp even to a further extent because they have never won as the Mammoth. There are just teams that seem to really struggle with what the Oilers present on a game-to-game basis. I think Utah's a better team than those other two clubs that the Oilers have had the number of. So maybe the waters level off the tiniest bit here, and Utah's able to scrape it out and give themselves a little bit more breathing room in that first wildcard spot, which has suddenly shrunk on them pretty substantially, as you've mentioned earlier in the show.
Coach Sheldor said, Duke, oh, wow, LOL. Am I ever glad that you guys aren't running the power play? Yikes.
Well, at this point, I think anybody could give it another go because they're 2 for 19.
Higher than that, I think, isn't it?
Maybe it is after that. I don't know how many do they have against Vegas total because they didn't cash any in. It's it's a tough conversation because as Speck said, and we heard it in his questions to both McDavid and Chris Knobloch from yesterday before they took off, you have a good power play, but 2 of the guys aren't on it right now. So do you just say, whatever happens in the meantime, and we know when they get back, come playoff time in particular, it's going to likely fire at its same lethal efficiency? It's a good question and one worth asking. That do you make substantial changes only to turn heel and go back to what is tried and true?
0 for 3 against Vegas, Duke. And the key one was that third period.
100%.
Yeah, right early in the third. And then Vegas scored to make it 4-1. And it was lights out after that, the Mark Stone goal.
Twas curtains at that point. Jumping over to the ball diamond, the Blue Jays struggles continue here in the early going. They lose big to the Dodgers last night, fall to 4-6 on the season. Not quite ready yet, Kevin. The panic button is not needing to be pressed. The injuries pile up. The pitching staff is in a little bit of disarray from the starters right through to the bullpen, where nobody can really seem to deliver efficient or quality outings at this point. Good opportunity for Kevin Gausman. Nails in his first two starts. Maybe he can help turn things around. But in a 162-game MLB campaign, I don't care what the team is. I don't care what the expectations are. I'm not ready to press any real panic button or have any panic until at least you crest the 20-game threshold, which is roughly just an eighth of the season.
It might even go a bit more than that, Duke.
Yeah.
And it's not a hell of a lot more, but if you went 25, 28 games, you know what? This series against the Dodgers, and again, so you got Gausman and Yamamoto going tonight, Cease and Ohtani. So the Dodgers, with that pitching, I mean, Yamamoto, we knew how good he was last year in the playoffs. But if the Blue Jays can sneak out a game here in these next two against the Dodgers, then they can recoup after a day off.
Yeah.
And then they go and they got Minnesota. And then they got another day off on Monday. So I think if they can somehow sneak one out here against the Dodgers in these next two games and then figure it out from there, start to get maybe some guys back like Savage. I think he's probably the closest. You might bring up Corbin, the lefty, might bring him up from Buffalo. He might get a start here just because they need him. But to your question, I'd go even a tad more than 20. I'd even touch 25 to 27, 28 games.
It is a long year, and I said this yesterday with Connor. Like, you can't win the pennant in the first 10 games, and I'm a believer that you can't really lose it either. And I get it. The Yankees are off to a great start. Their record is seemingly creeping further and further away from what the Jays are able to catch them up. But it's baseball. You can rattle off 6-7 game win streaks or even more, seemingly like it's nothing. And as long as you're a good constructed team, those long losing streaks don't seem to come as frequently. You get swept here and there by teams you don't want to. And in the Jays case, that's looming large as the White Sox here in the first couple weeks of the season. But I'm not ready to cut bait just yet. They'll rebound from some of these injuries that have plagued them and hopefully get things back on track heading into the second half of April. In the association, Victor Wembanyama left the Spurs game yesterday due to injury in the second quarter. Spurs did the Raptors a big favor, beating the Sixers, and now Toronto a half game up on Philly in that important sixth spot, avoiding the play-in tournament come NBA playoff time. But for Wembanyama, his eligibility for season-end awards suddenly in question with only a few games left. Wow, the rule was put in with good intentions. I think the association, the NBA, needs to scrap these games played qualifiers.
So maybe you can bring on Fenny with this too. So, when guys are missing games in the NHL, Duke, and things like that, and maybe, and even baseball, football, add in all these other sports. Am I wrong in saying that the NBA guys, and how they go about it, they mask it more, in the sense to,
like, they're not as upfront about what they're doing?
I guess, like, and everyone talks about load management, right? That's where it came from.
100%. Okay. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm getting at. And I'm agreeing with this too. So, but to me, if you're injured, you should know. I think everyone knows if they're injured. So those shouldn't count against what you're saying in these qualifiers. Am I out to lunch here or what? Or are you not catching what
I'm out.
You're out on this?
I'm out.
You think that
I think it's working. The whole point was to combat load management. And we had Steve Ashburner on the show, 2 weeks ago, a week ago?
Yeah.
And he said, games played is a factor that is brought into his voting process. Maybe not everybody's, but it's brought into his. And I think that's an excellent point. When I had my conversation with Andrew Schleck, he said the same thing, that the 65 game limit is working because you have guys like Kawhi Leonard, who was just taking load management days for the point of it he's got to rest, all for playoffs. The 65 game limit is used as incentive for the players to play because it's for the fans. They pay their hard-earned money to come and see the players play. And if they're taking a night off for the hell of taking a night off so that they're a little more fresh for the playoffs, that sucks. Like I said, people want to go see Giannis Antetokounmpo. They don't want to see Alex Antetokounmpo playing on the Bucks.
Yeah.
My only counter to that would be, and using the Kawhi Leonard as a prime example, because that is essentially where this came from, or he kind of started this load management wave of popularity. when he only plays 50 games, who's voting for him for MVP or Defensive Player of the Year?
Exactly.
So the point is, if a guy only plays 63 games because he legitimately missed time the last 3 games of the year here for Wemby because of an injury, all of a sudden he isn't justified to win Defensive Player of the Year, which he is a runaway for, or compete for the MVP, which is now with Luka out suddenly down to just a 2-horse, and according to bookmakers, 1-horse race with SGA and Jokic a little bit behind.
Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
So I'm out because I don't think they need to scrap it. They need to adjust it for sure. And this season is a prime example because Cade's out. Now Wemby's out. Luka's out.
So that's where I'm saying. So, like, shouldn't you just say, okay, he's out for load management tonight?
I mean,
so to actually track what games are missed for injury, but then, like I said, they'll just lie and say he's nursing a hamstring or something.
Well,
one of the suggestions I saw was All NBA is a huge thing for like contract incentives and stuff like that. Make that what players are eligible for, like first team, second team. You got to hit that 65 game limit.
Because correct me, that can dictate what you're eligible for.
Exactly.
In terms of your supermax.
So Jaren
like
Jackson Jr., this is a perfect example. Just a couple of years ago, missed out on All NBA by 1 vote, which means his next contract extension is $150 million less than what would have been had he made the All NBA team. By 1 vote, he missed it. So that's like the kind of money we're talking about swinging left and right.
Hurt him in the pocketbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they get there's some sort of cash incentive for winning awards, I have to assume. Even
absolutely.
Even if very minor compared to what they make annually. That's the only other thing that would work is that if it's Wemby or Shea or Jokic, and they say, well, I don't want to miss a game because I want to win MVP for personal glory, the little bit of cash that comes with it. That's one thing compared to what if they think it's the benefit of the team to sit out a few more games and be fresher come playoff time. I agree there. Like I said, it was put in with good intentions. I just think as you said, Josh, maybe you're qualifying for can be amended a little bit, because who's going to be the third MVP finalist now in the NBA? And I know the finals don't matter. It's just whoever the top 3.
It'll probably end up being like Jaylen Brown. He was 5th on the straw poll.
And it's a fair earned there what he's done with the Celtics in Tatum's absence. But anyway, tough break for Wemby, and still waiting on clarification on the status for the final 3 games I believe the Spurs have left in the regular season. Wrapping it up, April is National Grilled Cheese Month. Favorite of mine, favorite of Josh Fenwick's, paired with some homemade tomato soup to lure partners, romantic interest to his apartment. It's a very good verb.
Lure is the wrong word.
The best
Force.
the best simple way, and this is about as simple as it gets, to plus up a grilled cheese sandwich while you're throwing the slices of cheese inside the bread before you throw it on the pan or on the griddle. Sprinkle a few pickled banana peppers in there between the layers of cheese, and I think that is an excellent plus up.
So, but you're saying like the tomato soup doesn't count. You can't.
No. But we've talked about pairings and stuff like that before. That's one thing. But I'm just talking the sandwich itself. How do you improve a grilled cheese sandwich from its most basic concept in a very simple way? Because you can sizzle up some bacon and get that in there, and scoop out an avocado if people are in that way. Whatever.
I'm gonna be out, Duke. I'll be out, and I'm just saying, when you have a perfect grilled cheese sandwich, you can't improve on it.
Okay, Kevin, that's not true.
I don't see pickled banana peppers going, oh, I can't wait to bite into this. I'd rather have just the really good grilled cheese instead of adding something that isn't necessary to it.
I love grilled cheese, but the fact that you just take something that is as plain can possibly be. Maybe you don't have any tomato soup or any soup or the ingredients to make your homemade batch if you're Josh and Kevin, chef extraordinaires. I'm out of my Campbell's. And you say, all right, I don't got really anything to complement this as a side, but I'm on a quick, easy meal. Fridge is empty.
I've
got a jar of pickled banana peppers in the top drawer at almost all times. Just pull a few out of theirs with a fork, layer them in, because I like to go cheese on both sides, right? Extra gooey.
Here's the thing too, Duke. Like, this is from Richard too. Now, would this count or constitute mayo instead of butter on the outside before you put it on the flat top?
I will allow that, because I don't think that is the traditional way. Usually it is just butter on the outside to, get the crisp. I've done the mayo thing. I've used spicy mayo. I'm not sure it's all that it's cracked up to be.
Tipsy says tomato. Adding a tomato like would be on the cheese, I guess.
I'm not a big fan of hot tomato.
Well, the thing is, kind of gets a little mushy.
Mushy, right? Yeah. If you could pull it apart and then throw in like a crisp tomato and then fold it back together after you've cooked it, I suppose that would be better in my eyes, but that doesn't really seem worth the squeeze.
Like MTR has no sniff. The best way to improve it is solely based on what kind of bread you use. Like, what sense does that make, MTR?
What's your go-to, Kev? You're using sourdough,
sourdough
or what?
Yes, sourdough bread. Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah. And you know what we're doing now? Well, I'm not doing it. The pig body is using it's sourdough brown bread.
Oh.
So supposedly, I don't know if it's healthier for you, but whatever.
I was doing I did a quick Google search here coming into this and see what some internet people would have to say. I saw this one, and this isn't necessarily changing the ingredients, but I don't know if you've ever done this, Kev or Josh, the air fryer grilled cheese rather than in the pan or on the griddle.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's an interesting concept. Maybe I'll try that today when I get home.
Why wouldn't you do it?
It's winter time again.
Well, you're starting to feel better now,
Perfect
too.
for a soup and sandwich combo. It's winter time still.
You're starting to feel better now, too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wintertime. Yeah.
Wintertime.
Good stuff. That's In or Out, brought to you by Pro Solutions. Check them out at prosolutionsinc.ca. We're mixing the deck up, shuffling the deck a little bit. Con man, Connor Halley, is going to be with us right after the break. He's got the knife in here. He's threatening people. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you are thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. Here is the Duke.
Sports 1440 update.
Game day for the Edmonton Oilers as they are down in Salt Lake City taking on the Utah Mammoth, looking for the series sweep over Utah. Puck drop coming just after 7:30. Pre-game coverage starting right here in Sports 1440 at 6. Around the rest of the NHL, 10 other games, including the Habs hosting the Panthers. Lightning in Ottawa. Red Wings taking on the Jackets. Flyers against the Devils. Bruins play the Hurricanes. Blues host the Avalanche. Calgary down in Texas against the Stars. Wild host the Kraken. Canucks host Vegas. And in the other late game, Anaheim taking on Nashville. PWHL in our city tonight, and the Takeover Tour has Vancouver playing Boston from Rogers Place. That one getting underway at 7:30. On the other game tonight has Seattle against Montreal. BCHL Tuesday night action. Sherwood Park Crusaders and Spruce Grove Saints both at home against Black Falls and Brooks, respectively. Puck drop at 7 o'clock from the Sherwood Park Arena and the Thompson Family Arena. In the association tonight, the Raptors back at it, taking on the Miami Heat from Scotiabank Arena. Tip-off just after 5:30. Elsewhere, Bucks in Brooklyn, Celtics hosting the Hornets, Golden State against Sacramento, Thunder take on the Lakers from LA, and the Suns hosting the Rockets. In the majors, Blue Jays look to bounce back against the Dodgers. Ace Kevin Gausman on the bump. First pitch coming just after 5 o'clock. Yoshi Yamamoto will counter for Los Angeles. Elsewhere, Seattle taking on Texas. Yankees open up a set at home against the Athletics, and the Red Sox, they take on the Milwaukee Brewers. Coming up in hour 4 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Connor Halley from Fantasy Frenzy, as well as AEW wrestler Speedball Mike Bailey. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, the Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Everything is going to be okay. Any business, regardless of size, can stumble occasionally. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. If your business is facing financial challenges, our team of chartered insolvency and restructuring professionals have corporate debt recovery solutions that work. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. Chances of a positive outcome increase if you engage Faber sooner rather than later.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
Free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value for a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
From the Critical Care on the Air Radiothon for Stars, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbecker. Here's Stars' very important patient, Dominique Weeb.
I felt so honored to have been able to meet them. After they drop you off, they don't really know what happens next. They never informed until you reach out to them. So then it's also a bit of ending the puzzle for them as well. It's like, okay, they last saw me when I was like in pretty rough condition, and now seeing me like healthy and strong and walking in there is just, it was such a memorable experience. And I'm so happy that I was able to do it, because it definitely was, it kind of like completed the whole thing, I'd say. And actually be able to like thank them in person and, you know, just meet them in such better circumstances.
This Stars moment brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross. Make your donation by calling the Bungie Lifeline, 1-877-50-STARS.
Sports 1440. All sports, all day.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Thanks for listening to Edmonton's sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 10:05 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on a Tuesday morning. And the con man, Connor Halligan, a tad earlier, because we've got all elite wrestling star, speedball Mike Bailey coming in around 10:30ish here. I don't know what's going on, what the hell's happening here, but it's speedball Mike Bailey. Are you going to be going to the AEW Wrestling Dynamite and Collision tomorrow at Rogers, con man?
No, I'm not. I would like to. I've been to a few wrestling shows in my life. I do enjoy it, but when Benny's a little older, perhaps we'll take him out to some wrestling shows. Maybe some smaller ones, a little intense. But I went to WWF. Well, it was WWE once. Got tickets from the employer, and it was fun. There was like the people watching is good because some people there get so into it. Yeah. Okay. It was at actually it was at Rexall, the Coliseum. And then when we were leaving, we saw a fight as well between two wrestling fans, and security got involved. So I'm all on board for wrestling. I mean, I absolutely loved it back in the day.
Do you remember who was on the card?
No, I don't. Yeah. No. Me and my friend Ravinder, we went to West Edmonton Mall, sat by the ring for like 6 hours, and we got an autograph, The Rock and Owen Hart. Oh, really? And I thought I lost it. And then I found it. And Brad Slater told me we could sell it for like $600 on eBay. So yeah, I'm thinking about selling it. But yeah, I love wrestling, so I'd go down again for sure. I will at some point.
You know, like 30 years ago, I was doing an event with Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah,
and we had to present an award. It was at the Max Bell Theater in Calgary, and we were like first or second out of the chute in these presentations. And we got backstage after this. We said like now what? And the lady or some lady that said, well, you got to wait for the rest of the awards and then we'll have the post party. And Brett looks at me and he says, I'm not staying around here for like 2.5 hours. He says, let's go across the street. So we went to some pub in Calgary and pounded a few and then came back for the after party or whatever it was. So
we had him on the Gregor show like a while ago, and he was probably the most nervous I was to call somebody.
Is that right?
Yeah. Brett the Hitman Hart was the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. I loved him as a youth watching wrestling. So that's cool. Was he a cool guy?
Oh yeah. Like we just talked about all stuff. Like, and I had met him before too.
Okay.
I'd been down into the dungeon at the Hart residence because I was working in Calgary.
Okay.
So that was a little bit prior to this event, but yeah, no, he's a pretty good guy.
He was unfiltered when we had him on. Like and I've seen him on other podcasts. Like he'll just says what he thinks, and
Whatever,
it's
man.
not malicious, and he'll be critical of wrestlers if he has to be. Like he wasn't a good performer, but technically great wrestler. Like he gives honest reviews of wrestlers. I like it.
Hey, we had a question in or out about grilled cheese and tons of text coming in about Duke thought he could improve it with some pickled banana peppers. That's how he would improve a grilled cheese. To me, I said a grilled cheese doesn't need anything else.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but we had people say onions and other stuff. I don't know.
I'll take the Struddy approach and say if you apply other things to it, it's no longer a grilled cheese. It's like, the banana bread thing. If you put chocolate chips, is it still banana bread?
Yeah.
If he's putting peppers in it, maybe that takes away from grilled cheese.
Like some people are, there with tomatoes, there's been onions. They put mayo on the outside. I've done it.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
It's good. It gets a little tanginess to it if you don't want to put your butter or margarine, but
I'll sprinkle a few chili flakes on the cheese. Gives it a little bit of a kick as well.
Yeah.
How about ketchup? Do people dip it in ketchup?
Well, I'm sure that's part of. I think a lot of people do. Kids do for sure.
I never kicked the habit.
Yeah. You still do?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, I mean, you bounce back and forth if you have it, but for sure, I don't know where it came from. I don't know why I tried it. I remember like being at Smitty's as a kid trying it, and it was good. And then it was nice to find out that some other people are kind of weirdos that way as well.
Well, what's on the docket here, Con Man? We got our week 2 of our baseball draft going on, and our hockey drafts winding down. And I guess it's football season here when it comes to the OTAs are getting close, so it's kind of
Dexter Lawrence apparently wants out of New York. That's massive news. I mean, he's a stud, and the Giants, it appears, you finally have a stable head coach. You have your quarterback, potentially your running back, Malik Neighbors getting healthy, and you think this organization is going to start to go in the right direction, and now Dexter Lawrence wants out, and that blows my mind. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to win the division, but why couldn't they or finish in a wild card spot? Like the Commanders aren't that strong. The Cowboys, who knows? And the Eagles, I mean, they declined from the previous 2 seasons. I mean, they'll still be a tough task, but I don't get at this point wanting out.
Do you think there's anything salvageable here between the two sides, or like as we've seen?
Yeah,
I want to get the hell out of here.
Myles Garrett, 2 or 3 years ago, I'm out of here, and then they just back the Brinks truck up, and he stays. I think he could, but I think every other team in the NFL should be making offers to try to get this guy in here, especially if you're a team like right on the cusp here. You've got maybe defensive lines circled on your draft board. Oh, maybe we just give up a pick for a sure thing, and we know who's going to come in here and be ready to go and be a good player.
What do you think the ask would be here? I mean, how old is he? He's what, 28, 29? He's 28.
28?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that he's doing this because he wants to get the new contract in there as well. I don't think it would be as high as a Max Crosby, but you get a guy who has an interior
like a 1
pressure.
and a 2 or something.
That's what Crosby was, right?
Yeah, he was 2 first.
Yeah, and then the other offers were a first and a second. So I think like a first and maybe a mid to late round pick potentially you throw it out there towards them. Depends where that first would be, but yeah, I like him. He's a big guy, eats up double teams. Like we saw this with the Cowboys too. I mean, they moved on from edge and brought in defensive line. So I think there's other teams that might, potentially look at that and say, okay, maybe the middle is where we start to build our defensive line. I like it, and I'm intrigued to see who kind of makes those calls, because I think every team, especially the playoff team, should be going for it.
What about like with the new coach coming in? Maybe like again, do you think that's what I'm saying?
Maybe he doesn't like Harbaugh. Maybe he's heard some things about John Harbaugh and doesn't want to play out these things. I think now is the time to do it. If you are willing to, you're going to make that trade offer or trade request, do it ahead of the draft so the team can recoup rather than doing it, July or at the start of the season. Get some draft picks so the team can add immediately. I think it's win-win. Just move on from New York.
I saw too that Mendoza is going to be having a little personal tryout, I guess, or whatever, workout session with the Raiders here.
Yeah,
that's a foregone conclusion, is it not? For
I think so. Maybe it's like slipping him the playbook. Hey, get an early head start because we're going to draft you. You're going to be a Raider. Sorry to ruin the surprise. Let's talk contracts as well while we're doing that, because I don't think there's any debate. I know that people say Simpson out of Alabama could be the best quarterback in the draft. I didn't see it. Declan and I were talking about it yesterday. We're kind of agreeing that, good prospect, but he's not Fernando Mendoza, who's got the size. He's won, and in those big games when they needed to play, he was right there to make it. And he's just, to me, he's the guy, like, he's kind of got like the Kirk Cousins personality. He's just extremely likable, and he's not going to be a risk off the field. He's going to be kind of like Derek Carr 2.0, just a good dude.
Yeah,
Raiders quarterback who I had to boo, but liked as a human. I feel like Mendoza is going to be that same type of guy. He just seems extremely likable, and he's a heck of a football player. So some people say that the cap is Kirk Cousins. Well, Kirk Cousins had some huge years. So
he did, yeah, but he's like the Teflon John of contracts, right? Like he just signs these contracts.
You got to respect it.
And everything just, no matter what happens, it's still going to be coming my way. The bags are
That's so funny that it's like, 5 years, 172 million.
Yeah.
But really, it's a 1 year deal. Maybe two.
Circling back to Dexter Lawrence, I just saw an article just popped up for me. He just came down about potential landing spots. And right off the hop, it is a guy by the name of Kevin Patra. And right off the hop, he says, number one, it's the Giants. He says, I'm starting with it. He goes, I frankly don't think the Giants should trade him. So, but he mentions the Raiders, Bengals. Obviously, they lose their guy.
Yeah.
Baltimore, so there's the usual. He's even got your Chargers in here.
They have to be in there.
Yeah.
The defensive line, they signed Tierra Tart to an extension, but
yeah.
they did not spend a lot of money, and they had a lot of money in free agency, which led me to believe that they were waiting for something to happen, maybe a trade request closer to the draft. Kind of thought A.J. Brown, but this would be a good one as well. And they have some players to re-sign, but they have a ton of cap space, so it could make sense there.
Yeah. Just looking at our fantasy frenzy baseball, how are you guys doing? How was your week and your?
Well, from what I've been told, it didn't go very well for us. It's 1 week. We're not too concerned. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. We learned that last year, but didn't go great for us. And I did hear that you're up against MTR this week.
Yeah.
It's early.
Up against MTR. Yeah. Just last night, but I mean, it's MTR. There's not much there.
No.
Wow. I mean, I think it's, let me punch up the score here. 9-0.
Well,
come on now.
For Kevin Karius, yeah, of course.
MTR has yet to, he's batting 2 for 27 last night.
How many Jays does he have?
Not a lot, to be honest with you. He said he had the best team. He had Ronald Acuna Jr., who's been absolutely atrocious. His pitching staff he's got Yamamoto going tonight and Mizorowski. So
that guy's pretty good.
Yamamoto was like the devil to the Jays last year.
He's unbelievable.
Well, hey, are you concerned about the Jays? I mean, Duke brought it up here.
I always think I have a little bit of pessimism when it comes to the Blue Jays. Like I'm always like, I don't know if I can believe. And maybe I got a little too hyped for this season, but no, it's so early. You can't get too worried. Once the bats come around and you get some arms back into the rotation, I'm not going to be panicking quite yet.
MTR just automatically pumps in 3 texts. Yamamoto tonight, ding dong. Cease tomorrow. It's been 1 day, buddy. Relax.
He's right.
Hey, so you're in for Greg's one more day here?
One more day, yes.
What you got cooking here on the Gregor Show coming up with 2 bills?
We are going to obviously go to Utah. I think you guys had my go-to guy there earlier today, Cole. Yeah, that happens.
There's lots of guys out there.
Oh,
and gals.
So many. We'll get someone. Trying to get someone to talk some NFL. Dexter Lawrence, and then of course the draft. We're 3 weeks away. We've got Struddy, we've got Speck, Dave McCarthy, Derek Van Diest, Cam Dave's 2-minute warning. 5 questions with Declan.
Are we going at 6 bells for a pregame show?
Oh, we better be.
Because the game's 7:30 tonight.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to have a whiteboard put in here so we could write down start times, but my request was denied by Stingray. So far.
Really?
Yeah. Well, they said
just write it on the wall.
They said, where are you going to put it? And I didn't have an answer for him.
Just
on the roof.
Yeah, whatever, on the door.
On the window. Here's a question for you, if I have time.
Yeah.
Declan, in 5 questions yesterday, said, I think it was you get $5 million, but for the next 5 years at 3:00, you get dropped in a random part of the ocean. And you have to survive for 30 seconds. And then you get transported back to wherever you were. Would you take the money and do it?
Easily.
You get 50 days off. So like it's your wedding day. You could say, hey, I'm not doing it today, obviously.
All you need is 30 seconds.
30 seconds. But you could get dropped like shark infested water.
Whatever.
You might be dropped on the beach in Maui. Like
yeah. Easily.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I said
no
that
problem.
too. And that's a lot of money.
Uh,
So family for the future.
Yeah. I was a quick story of my buddy Stubbs Holsby passed away, and he was a pretty good swimmer. And we were just in the lake swimming. And I said, if you had to tread water to save your life, how long could you do it for? And he went, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. I thought he was going to say 2 or 3 hours or something. You know, I don't know, 2 or 3 days.
2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
I'd be donezo.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think 30 seconds and the sharks, that'd be the only fear.
Yeah.
Like what else is in 30 seconds?
Like I guess
like we're talking the perfect storm here.
Potentially.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
In front of a big steam liner, you know?
Yeah. Well, cruise ship coming by.
Yeah,
It could happen.
Oh yeah. I'd still do it.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. Con man, thanks, bud. Have a great show today.
Thank you.
That's Connor Halley from Fantasy Frenzy and the Jason Greger Show. You'll hear the Con Man today at 2:00. When we come back, we're going to have Cam and Eggs. Cam Tate will be checking in, and then all elite wrestling stars, Speedball, Mike Bailey, coming up about 10:30. As soon as he arrives, we'll get to him. It's the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
It's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit ProSolutionsInc.ca to schedule your service today.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good to go.
It's time to hit the greens. Elevate your golf game with Country Club Tour Golf Academy. No matter your experience, our PGA of Canada teaching pros are here to help. Enjoy lessons year-round between our 7 CCT golf courses and 2 state-of-the-art indoor facilities. Choose the location convenient for you. We offer private lessons, group lessons, expert club fittings, and junior cams. Visit our website to learn more and get ready to take your game to the next level. Booking is easy. Go to countryclubtour.com/golf academy and schedule your lesson today.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Why should you drive a Subaru? How about durability, style, and an excellent customer experience from the moment you step into the showroom? And how about accolades, including awards for numerous 2026 Subaru models from both AutoTrader and JD Power? But don't just take my word for it. Take a test drive and you'll see why the Subaru name is recognized and renowned for quality. To learn more, visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 1024 in Edmonton. Text 833-401-1440. As per Declan's little chat with Conman with 5 questions about being dropped anywhere in the ocean or at ocean. Rig text in, how high are you being dropped from? What if they dump by Antarctica or up north? 30 seconds, they may be pulling out a corpse. What do you think? And Connor replied, I think you just appear in the water, no drop. So would you do this, Duke? Or?
Well, yeah, I'd try. The reality is, I don't know how many times I'd make it, because did he say it was just once a week or every day you get dropped in the ocean?
I thought he had, and then he said you get tired. You
can
have to do your birthday
pick days off. But the thing about me, Kevin, and I've been very open.
Good swimmer.
No, the opposite. I'm as close to just straight up not being able to swim as probably anybody that you know.
Duke, you got to be just like Lieutenant Dan. You do the dead man float, right? You just inhale and you just sit there.
There are ways around it for sure, but I also am a little bit of a panicker when it comes to water.
Yeah.
So with the understanding that I know when it's happening each time at the same day, time, whatever the case, maybe that would help and allow me to be a little bit more calm, and I could take efforts to become a better swimmer. You talked about how long a person could last treading water. You said 2-3 days, and you thought it'd be 2-3 hours. Yeah. I'm thinking like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah. Do you imagine if you were getting close here, Duke, and whatever, say you were on day whatever, and yet we were close to getting the 5 million, and it was you, Duke, and you were so close. They threw you out there and wherever it was, and then also added a pail of chum at the end.
Oh boy, I'm all the chum that the Sharks need. This body, they'd be like Wagyu steak. They'd be loving it.
MTR says Duke would sink. He needs his floaties.
That's not true. Fat floats.
Also needs to have a T-shirt to feel comfy.
Okay, that's just not true. That's slander.
Oil Commander says the Commanders are going to win the division this season, Duke. Giants are winning the division. Well, apparently everyone's winning the division here.
No, but not the Eagles, Triple C.
Oh, he's crying. Oh, no, he's making fun of it, saying the Giants. When we were talking about with the con man, and we were discussing the possibilities of where and a landing spot could be for Dexter Lawrence. But week number 2 here of Cam and Eggs is our buddy Cam Tate. And Cam was in yesterday. We had a little bit of a good discussion as he was getting ready to go to his desk to do some more writing and things like that. So here is another edition of Cam and Eggs with Cam Tate.
Returns to me as sharp as the steam rising from my coffee, a day that will forever ache in the marrow. It was a Saturday too ordinary for catastrophe, until cruel time peeled away every hope, every dream, with news from that Humboldt Bronco bus crash that cut the world in two. 16 gone, 13 wounded, boys, brothers, sons, carrying invisible scars in the silent dark. I see the families in my mind, standing in the shocked quiet, every heartbeat a question, searching shadows for a sliver of light. Since then, every step has been the slow, grinding labor of survival, rebuilding from wreckage one trembling moment at a time. We mark the anniversaries, candles flickering against the gloom, names whispered in rinks and prayers. But the camera crews fade, and time pushes us onward. It's the next day that tests us, when the silence settles and the weight becomes real. There, hidden from the world, survivors have reached into the dust for broken pieces and built anew, a mosaic of courage and hope, stitched by hands trembling but unyielding. Their journey is not for show. It is the quiet, gritty work of making life possible again. For the family shattered that morning, words ring hollow. The absence is a wound that language cannot touch, but you are not alone. In the hush, our hearts reach for yours, arms unseen, strong as the love that still binds us. The pain of loss lingers, but so does all the love. Even laughter, so distant now, waits tenderly in the roots of this community, watered by tears, steadied by gentle hands. If today you find even the smallest good, a memory, a warm hand, sunlight through a window, know that hope lives there. Sometimes recovery starts simply in the soft, fragile promise of a smile. This is Cam and Eggs.
Well, that's a hell of an addition to Cam and Eggs. Thanks, Tater. I think so many of us, still have trouble talking about it for sure. It was obviously very devastating. And, I think of always, yesterday I thought a lot of Chris Joseph and his family, and I thought about what they're going through. And I to be honest with you, and I still was processing this even yesterday, and I still thought about it today. And I think it'll even take more time during the week here. Because I thought about asking Chris to come on the show here, and he's been on, Chris Joseph was with us, in the playoffs last year too, and came on because he was so busy, he didn't have time, because I'd asked him originally to be a part of our Sports 1440 morning team. I think a lot of people have seen the interview that Chris has done, which is unedited. And I think a lot of people have seen some things that Chris has said, that have been posted on social media, etc. And also discussing and bringing up mainstream media, because many, many, many of the mainstream media have not been fair to this story moving forward. So I'm going to think about it here in the next day or so, and then I'm going to reach out to Chris and see if he wants to come in studio, because I think one of the things that he, and I know he trusts me and he trusts people here and trusts what we would be talking about. But he, and I think a lot of the families don't want to discuss some things with other media because it's not reported fairly. And I hope I'm wording all of this correctly. But it's something, again, that we're going to look at here in the next. I didn't want to do anything yesterday because it's a tough day, and it's even, again, it's tough for people to talk about what happened 8 years ago. So anyway, thoughts with everybody still. And again, there's memorials that are continuing to being built and things like that around areas in Humboldt and things like that. So I'm going to stew on this one for a bit, and maybe some of our listeners can chime in and maybe offer some direction too. What path here to take, what direction, what course. So, but thanks, Tater. I mean, obviously tough for you to write something like that, but it's from the heart, and that's what matters. That's what matters. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, it's a good little segue here to take a break and kind of regroup, and then talk a little wrestling. AEW Dynamite Collision is tomorrow at Rogers. Straight ahead on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
Deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
Free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Remember 2025? That's so last year. But seriously, St. Albert Dodge needs to clear some 2025 models off the lot to make room for new inventory. So they're having a huge clear out of all the remaining new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Saharas. The Sahara package is the best seller, so they have a great selection to choose from and priced from as low as $59.9. I don't have to tell you, these are going to go fast. So get there before they are gone. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
This jersey was worn by the legend himself, signed and everything. You can't just wear it. I'm framing it with expressions and images.
Your prized jersey deserves better than the closet. Think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
the longest-running basketball show in Canada, airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the VLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Today and Wednesday is the Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars. Your chance to support this vital service that delivers life-saving care to Albertans. Listen for stories from Stars VIPs, very important patients, and how Stars has made a difference in their lives. You'll also hear from members of the Stars team. Today and Wednesday, the Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars, presented by BHP and Parish and Heimbecker. Please donate and help keep Stars flying and saving lives. Visit criticalcareontheair.ca.
Your game, your station. Sports 1440.
And watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 10:36 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne with you, along with Josh Fenwick. And we got a special guest in studio because we're going to talk a little AEW wrestling. It's Dynamite and Collision tomorrow night at Rogers Place. And All Elite Wrestling star Mike Bailey, so Speedball Mike Bailey.
That's right.
Has joined us in studio. Speedball, thanks for coming in, big fella.
Thank you for having me.
Can you just go with Speedball, or do I got to go Speedball Mike Bailey?
No, you can just go with Speedball.
All right, Speedball.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much?
You look, Champ also works.
Champ, okay, you got the belt. I mean, for our viewers that are watching us on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, Speedball's got the belt. That is the World Champion Trios belt, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, so when did you win that thing?
So we won it at Revolution, which was the pay-per-view that we did in Los Angeles on March 19th, 15th. I'm not sure.
Middle of March. Perfect. So trios, there's 3. So
that's right.
How did the match go? Like, who else is on your squad here?
So trios, so 3 on 3, right? So you're familiar with tag team wrestling, same thing, but instead of 2 guys on each side, there's 3 guys, which is a style that was mostly perfected, very common in Mexico. Right. So I won this with Kevin Knight, who is my regular tag team partner. He and I have been jet speed in AEW for a year, as well as Místico, who is the most popular wrestler by far in Mexico right now. He has been the star of CMLL, which is the World Council of Lucha Libre, which is an AEW sister promotion in Mexico, where we just were over the weekend did a few shows in Arena Mexico in front of 20,000 people, where Místico is the top star. He is the man over there. So he knows trios wrestling better than anyone in the world. And he is, in my opinion, the greatest wrestler alive right now.
What was that atmosphere like in Mexico? Like, again, so you're talking to a guy that every fan in Mexico knows that's a wrestling fan. You said 20,000 fans. Man, what was it like?
It's incredible because Arena Mexico, they do such a great job bringing in a lot of tourists, right? The company works with the tourism board, so they work a lot of people, but there's also a lot of Mexican, absolute insane, diehard fans who bring such crazy energy. So to be there and represent All Elite Wrestling in a different country is such an honor.
Speedball, Mike Bailey with us in studio. How did you get the nickname?
So I started wrestling in the Montreal area, right? And there was a writer called Michael Ryan who wrote a lot about wrestling online and journalism and all that. And he described one of my early matches, my style, as bouncing around the ring like a speedball. And it's stuck with me ever since. It's a very accurate description.
Cool stuff. So what got you into wrestling? Give us your background to where you are today.
Yeah, so I grew up with 3 siblings, right? And we were always, kind of fighting around and roughhousing. And so physical violence is how I learned to love. So when we saw professional wrestling on TV, we were like, oh, you can actually do this stuff for a living? And we got hooked on it. We took our mattresses off our beds and put them on the floor and started giving each other suplexes as soon as we saw it. And I mean, I was 7 years old then, and I was like, oh, I want to become a pro wrestler. And that didn't make much sense for many years. When I was about 10 or 11, I got into martial arts, right? And I kind of discovered my own skill and athleticism. And I realized that despite being, undersized for your typical pro wrestler, I still had a shot at this because, I could develop a skill set that would make me even with the bigger guys. And since then, now I'm a 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo. Okay. I've done every other martial art you can think of. And that's what kind of has carried me through professional wrestling. As a Canadian professional wrestler, it's very difficult to stand out and get noticed by the bigger American companies. And it took me maybe 6 or 7 years of professional wrestling in order to finally do some matches in the US in front of some of the bigger independent companies there that are usually a path to, wrestling on American television. And I was banned from the US for 5 years, right? So when I thought my career was going in one direction, I was going to be wrestling for the one company that had pro wrestling on TV, that wasn't going to happen. So I had to reorient my path and start wrestling all over the world, wherever I could. So I wrestled mostly in Japan, in Europe. I wrestled in Mexico before then too. And eventually, after nearly 20 years of honing my skills, I came to AEW, which is where the best wrestle, and it's where I truly feel I belong now.
I got to ask, why were you banned for 5 years from the States?
Because American work visas are very hard to obtain.
Okay.
That's the short version of it, but yeah.
So what is it that you're a good fit with AEW? What is AEW? Why is it a good fit for you?
So I think again, if you're familiar with the history of pro wrestling, right, there was kind of a monopoly for a long time. There was one company that bought out all the other small ones, and they had a very specific vision for professional wrestling. They micromanaged and produced it for it to be only one way, right? But traveling the world and wrestling for sometimes very small shows, very small independent shows over the years, I learned that pro wrestling is about that connection with the audience, right? And in 2019, the pro wrestling world in the US, the landscape kind of came to a head where there was this huge contingency of great independent professional wrestlers. And there was an opportunity that Tony Khan, the owner of AEW, saw to create a pro wrestling company, right? That did pure pro wrestling based off what the audience wants to see. And that's how AEW was created, with that connection with the audience made through good professional wrestling, which is basically the skill set that I spend my whole life crafting.
Well, again, years ago, and you can go back to how Stampede Wrestling was. And I mean, it was all territorially.
Yes.
Like, and there were so many in the United States in certain pockets, and then, in Quebec too. But out here, we were all Stampede Wrestling. That's all we knew. when I was growing up, that's all we knew. But there were literally dozens and dozens of these little pockets.
Right. And those pockets, I mean, Stampede Wrestling had a very Canadian identity. It was a Canadian company for Canadians presenting shows in Canada. And then when that got bought out, that concept died off for many, many years.
Yeah. Had a text here, and I think it's a misspell, but it's something we talked about. The Rig says, I missed the start of this interview, but us Speedball, was he influenced by Rey Mysterio being a smallish wrestler? But I think he's talking about Mystico, or is he Rey Mysterio?
Well, Rey Mysterio,
So
yeah,
similar?
has been
Okay.
around for a long time. Someone that I wrestled with, but of course he's one of the many great high flyers that came about. And
just some text come in and spelling, and you're not, just unsure. So maybe just touch on that then.
Well, yeah, Rey Mysterio, I mean, is probably in America one of the most household names when it comes to lucha libre. But I really feel like that in Mexico, especially, Mystico has surpassed Rey Mysterio. And like all the if you're a lucha libre nerd, just like I am, I was talking to people in Mexico, and they were telling me that they believe that in 2026, the most famous luchadors goes El Santo, right? Of course, who made many films, and there was a whole lucha libre cinema in Mexico for many, many years. Blue Demon, and now Mystico being the top three, but still working his way up. But
so, as he said, and we've got Speedball Mike Bailey with us in studio, smaller wrestler. That's what your body type is. So I imagine your strengths are speed, quickness, and as you said, the martial arts.
That's right.
How do you incorporate that into how you go about, being successful in a match?
So, the funny thing is that it's not even directly the martial arts, right? Taekwondo is what I specialized in, and that is mostly spinning kicks, which you can see a lot in my matches. But the main thing is, like, even if I did not throw a single kick in a match, I still think the way I move and the way my brain works and the way I've learned to kind of approach fighting in those difficult situations come from martial arts. And I truly feel that with the discipline and work ethic that I've acquired through martial arts, there's nothing that I can't overcome. And, there's nothing, I'm a believer in skill and hard work. And I don't think there's any kind of physical disadvantage that you can't overcome by being good at something.
Speedball, Mike Bailey with us in studio, the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440, 1045 in Edmonton. Tomorrow at Rogers Place, it's AEW, Dynamite, and Collision. If you can maybe just speak to your match and a little bit about the card tomorrow.
So tomorrow on the card, we've got a couple matches announced. There is a women's match that's announced with Willow Nightingale, who's one of the most exciting wrestlers right now. We will have Chris Jericho speaking after his return in Winnipeg, huge moment, as well as Kenny Omega will speak. Kenny Omega, who will be fighting MJF for the Men's World Championship at Dynasty in Vancouver next Sunday. And MJF is who I just wrestled last week on Dynamite, so I'm going to be looking at that one very closely.
Rematch down the road here or what?
I don't have a match announced.
Okay.
Right. Always full of surprises with All Elite Wrestling. But the good thing is we have such a deep roster that there are no bad matches you can make. There's a lot of other wrestlers that I know will be there that I would love to wrestle. And I mean, whether it's a singles match, a tag team match with Jet Speed, or whether I have to defend my trios championship, there are no bad matches.
Yeah. How jacked do you get when the crowd gets going and, the fans get behind you and that there's that support, and when you're watching, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, it goes both ways. But what's it like for you?
It's incredible. I mean, that's what you do it for, right? Pro wrestling as an art form is incredibly complex. You have to put great care into how the audience watches your match. And that's really where the focus is. I mean, in terms of when you're in the ring, in terms of timing and moments, you really have to listen and be hyper aware. And the best way I can explain what it's like to be a pro wrestler in front of that crowd, right? I think it's a great skill and an important thing to be able to do, to make eye contact with people who are cheering you on. I mean, the reason that I have a career, the reason that I get to do what I love for a living is because of the people who come to the shows and support me. So I think I've made a whole career based off of that connection. And I mean, to me, that is the most important part of professional wrestling.
Growing up, and you mentioned a little bit about how you got into it, but maybe just tell our listeners about who have helped you to get where you are right now?
This is a very difficult question because there is too many people, right? It takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to turn someone into a good professional wrestler. But if I'm going to give specific shout outs, I mean, my older brother also did pro wrestling for 10 years. We started together and we got in the business. And I think where I first learned pro wrestling was when he was 16. He was old enough to take the pro wrestling classes and I wasn't. And he just kind of showed me the ropes at our Taekwondo school after his classes.
Right.
But there's been so many people, there's been so many moments throughout my professional wrestling career where I had a match with someone, and through that match, through fighting them, learned a lot. And I mean, we talked about Kenny Omega a little bit, right? And I don't know if you're familiar with his story, but he is a Canadian pro wrestler, started in Winnipeg. He was briefly with a developmental section of WWE and then left that, and then again couldn't really work in the United States, so he went to Japan for a promotion called DDT. And the entire premise of DDT is that pro wrestling in Japan is based off of culture and discipline and taking things very seriously. Well, DDT did the exact opposite. If you search DDT, it'll be very famous for on their roster having a blow-up doll called Yoshihiko that people have matches with. And it is one of the greatest expressions of professional wrestling that you can find. But that's where Kenny Omega went and really honed his craft and became the best professional wrestler in the world. And so Kenny and I had a match back in 2015, way before AEW, and wrestling him really opened my mind. I saw his brain worked completely differently, and I needed to get on his level. So I went to DDT as well and learned to deconstruct the art form of professional wrestling in order to come back to America and put it back together.
Right. Where do you want to take this, Speedball? I mean, I would assume you're always continuing to build your brand, your persona, your not just your wrestling, but everything else that to make you the best wrestler that you can possibly be. What's the road like that look like for you, and what are the things that you want to do to achieve some of those goals?
I believe that even though AEW is a major company, we're selling out gigantic arenas in front of tens of thousands of people, pro wrestling as an art form is still relatively small and unknown compared to, like, if you compare, right, the sport of pro wrestling to football or mixed martial arts, there's a lot of people that don't know how it works, don't know about it. So my goal is to continue with All Elite Wrestling, continue to spread the word of professional wrestling and continue to get bigger and better. Because I believe, and you know, some people might say this is naive, but I believe in professional wrestling as a force of good, right? I've taught professional wrestling to a lot of people, and to me, the most beautiful expression of it is seeing someone who has no self-confidence come into a pro wrestling school, learn how to do those movements, and learn to become a bigger version of themselves that they present in the ring through their matches, and watching that change their lives and make them a better person. Ultimately, I think professional wrestling can do that, and that's why I believe in it as a force for good.
Who'd you watch and admire when you were young, when you were just growing up, and you said you threw the mattresses against the walls and things like that?
I honestly, I saw professional wrestling on TV and I really enjoyed it. But when I really fell in love with the art form and was like, aha, this is what I wanted to do, is when I saw wrestling in Japan for the first time. Guys like Mitsuharu Misawa and Toshiki Kawada and the whole roster of Dragon Gate. Guys like Dragon Kid are who I really wanted to see. There was Ring of Honor, who is now a company that is owned by All Elite Wrestling, but they revolutionized American independent wrestling. And finding that online and seeing guys on there like Samoa Joe, who is now with All Elite Wrestling, those are really the guys I looked up to growing up.
Anything you want to add as we close things out here? Just, you know, if the mic's yours, the floor is yours if you want to add something.
Well, yeah, if you're in Edmonton, come watch the show tomorrow, Rogers Place, Dynamite and Collision. Show starts at 5:30, and you can get tickets on awtix.com.
Good luck. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it. We'll be watching and kind of following your career a little bit more here for sure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. It's tomorrow night as Speedball Mike Bailey just said it's a Dynamite and Collision at Rogers Place tomorrow and 5:30 for the start. So things get going there. Thanks for coming and really appreciate it. Man, that was good. Just to wrap things up here, got to mention that we're starting our Golfing with the G-Man segment this Friday for the Country Club Tour. Excited about that. Gary Myers will be in studio from 10 to 11 this Friday and every Friday moving forward. And to kick off Masters Week, we've got Keith Stewart from Read the Line, one of our very popular golf guests, tomorrow morning. So he'll be with us to kick off the Masters. The par 3 goes tomorrow. And then opening round at Augusta is slated for Thursday. Man, oh man, what a jam-packed show we had. Coming up at the top of the hour, it is Fantasy Frenzy with
the former Rochep T-Bird,
Connor Halley and the Duke of Delburne at 12 o'clock. The Lowdown with Alan Mitchell, 2 till 6. Jason Greger drives us home, but Connor Halley's in the seat, taking over for Griggs, who's got one more day of vacation. We'll have our pregame show from 6 to 7:30 with Andrew Walker, Landon Ferraro, and Donnie P. At 7:30, puck drop between the Oilers and Utah. Post-game show to follow. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock with our co-host, David Schlemko, the former NHLer. But before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by All-Star Construction. They shape and build Edmonton communities, specializing in underground utilities like power, gas, communications, telecommunications, and street lighting. That's All-Star Construction. Hey, thanks for listening today. Hope you have a terrific rest of your Tuesday. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 7 bells. Until then, here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day for the Edmonton Oilers as they are down in Salt Lake City, taking on the Utah Mammoth, looking for the season sweep over Utah. Puck drop coming just after 7:30. Pre-game coverage starting right here in Sports 1440 at 6. Around the rest of the NHL, 10 other games. Habs hosting the Panthers. Lightning are in our nation's capital against Ottawa. Jackets taking on the Red Wings. Devils host the Flyers. Bruins in Carolina. Blues play the Avalanche. Flames down in Texas against the Stars. Kraken taking on the Wild. Canucks host Vegas, and the other nightcap game, Predators in Anaheim against the Ducks. PWHL action in our city tonight. Takeover tour at Rogers Place has the Vancouver Golden Knights taking on Boston. Puck drop there at 7:30. Other game in the PWHL has Seattle in Montreal against the Victoire. BCHL Tuesday night game. Spruce Grove Saints at home against Brooks. 7 o'clock puck drop for the Thompson Family Arena. And ditto for the Sherwood Park Crusaders. They take on Blackball at 7 o'clock from the Sherwood Park Arena. In the association, full slate of games, including the Raptors back at it. They host Miami for a 5:30 tip-off from Scotiabank Arena. Elsewhere, Minnesota's in Indiana. Boston hosting Charlotte. OKC against the Lakers. And the Clippers hosting the Dallas Mavericks. Full slate in the majors. Blue Jays look to bounce back against the Dodgers. First pitch coming just after 5 o'clock. It'll be Kevin Gausman, Jays ace on the bump, going up against Yoshi Yamamoto. Elsewhere, Yankees kick off a series against the Athletics. Boston hosting Milwaukee. Cubbies are in Tampa Bay. And the Seattle Mariners continue their set in Texas against the Rangers. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is Fantasy Frenzy with Hallie and Douglas. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.